Yo, what is up, everybody? It is time for the Jason Masoud Show, episode 12, and I have an amazing guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, my name is Marvin. Right now, I live in Arizona. I used to be like a full-time juggler and juggling teacher for like 7 years. Travel a bunch of places, and now I'm been streaming on Twitch the last 6, 7 months, coming up to 7 months. Yeah.
Wow, okay. So, I met you through Deathbringer, and as soon as I, got into the community, I heard that you were a juggler and you were traveling the world. And I definitely want to talk.
Yeah.
I want to talk a lot about juggling. But my question is, did you ever have any other hobbies before that? Maybe when you were younger. What were you into when you were younger?
Yeah. I used to play a lot of basketball. That was like my main thing. I found basketball when I was like 10 years old, and I did that most of my life until I was 26. So about like 16 years, 7 days a week. Because I grew up in Malaysia. I played basketball in Malaysia, and then I migrated to like Los Angeles when I was 20. And and then from there I switched. And then in between I chased snowboarding for like a bit. I went
Dang.
up and live up in Mammoth. Are you familiar with Mammoth?
Oh, I've never been there, but dude, I want to go so bad, man. I
Yeah.
want to go so
So
bad.
like Big Bear is like 100 acres, one lift. Mammoth is like 3,500 acres, 30 lifts. And I lived up there for like 2 winters. And I did about like 250 days of snowboarding. And and then after that I got pursued like circus stuff.
Whoa. Okay, so is it safe to say that you're an extremist? When you get into something, you go all in, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I feel like that's kind of like my personality trait. I feel like when I was younger, when I was a kid, before like when I was like a child, I would like try a few different things, and nothing really like stuck. But then once it like sticks, it's like I try to go to see how far I can go towards till the end. But yeah.
Dang. Okay, so you mentioned a lot of different things that I'm like really I got a lot of questions about. But first, okay, you said your first real passion was basketball. So and you played back in Malaysia. So I didn't even know that you were originally from Malaysia. So you grew up there. You were born there.
Half my life, yeah, more than half my life, 20 years in Malaysia, in Borneo, where like the orangutans come from. I talk about it a little bit on my stream sometimes, and but yeah, that's where I grew up, and then I moved to like LA, and yeah, I played for my city and my state. It's kind of like a low-level college, I guess, if you compare it here.
Uh-huh.
And I came here, and I was playing ball at Venice Beach, 7 days a week for many years. Yeah.
Dang, no way. So you were doing that at first, and then how did you get into snowboarding?
So Malaysia, I don't know if you know much about Southeast Asia. So Malaysia, like, there's no snow. Like in Southeast Asia, it's really hot and humid, 90 degrees. And so I remember when I was like 15, one of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna try snowboarding," and I was like, "Snowboarding? What is that?" I couldn't even like fathom like what is snowboarding. And then
Dang.
once he said that, I was like, you know what? One day I'll try it. And then so when I was like about like 16, my mom sent me to Japan for like 2 months for like a homestay, and
Uh-huh.
I got to like see the first time, and I tried skiing. And the people that took care of me didn't allow me to do snowboarding because they said it was like dangerous. And
Right.
so I told myself the next time I see snow, I will like pursue that like hardcore. And then that time was after I moved to LA. Yeah.
Dang, bro, what? Okay, so
Yeah.
real quick, I want to give a couple shout outs before I ask you like a million questions about that because that's pretty badass, dude. Real quick, shout out to Codeezy. What up? Shout out to Dev TGP. Yo, everybody on Twitch, please follow Dev TGP right now. He's trying to hit affiliate. He's very, very close. He just started streaming. Everybody, please go follow him. Dude, okay, so the people that you were living with at the time didn't want you to snowboard because it was too dangerous. So in your head, you immediately told yourself, I'm going to fucking do this when I get the chance. Like right away.
Yeah,
Huh?
totally. Right away. Like that moment. I was like, the next chance I see snow, I'm gonna like just go all out. And then so like when I
Dang.
came to the United States, I actually had like five dreams, like five like lifetimes like goals, I guess.
Uh-huh.
One of them was to watch Kobe play because Kobe was like they were winning. When I came to LA, LA was winning. Like, it was like Kobe and Shaq, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to watch Kobe play. I watched him a couple times. One of them was to play ball at Venice Beach, and then the other one was to play ball at Harlem, New York. And I got to New York. The Harlem court was under construction, so I never got to like play there.
Oh, what?
And then the fourth one it was to like pursue snowboarding, and then the fifth was to get like cornrows.
Okay, wait, hold up. Did you ever get cornrows?
I did. I have a picture of it. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, you got to show that picture at some point during the show, bro. I got to see the cornrows. Oh man, dude, that's dope.
I only had it for 4 days. It was like too much of like it was like too much. You know, I couldn't handle the itch. So I did it twice, and it lasted like 4 or 5 days. But
I've never had cornrows, but I definitely do want to try it at some point. Does it hurt? Like it feels like it probably hurts your scalp, right?
It hurts in the beginning when they kind of like pull it and put it together, but then it's more of the itch. Like for me, I don't know, like Asian hair, like I guess depending on where you live, your hair kind of like assimilates to the weather. So like my hair is like kind of like Southeast Asia, the humidity. So if I don't wash it for like 3 days, I can't sleep. I literally cannot sleep. Like I like the hair would just kill me. And then after 3 days of having the cornrows, it starts to itch, but you can't scratch it, right? So you're kind of just like tapping your head, and it was just driving me. Yeah, it was driving me nuts.
Dang, bro, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then I moved, and then I wanted to snowboard, so I went up to Big Bear, and then I realized how expensive it was, right? The gear, the tickets, the gas to get up there. But then I didn't care at that point. For those who like have caught like the bug, like you it's almost like an addiction. You can't stop thinking about it. The feeling on being on the mountain, it's like so amazing because you're like being one in a moment. You know, like when you're going down, the music's playing, everything is like slowing down. And I wanted to get that feeling again and again. So I spent all my savings, all working. I spent all my money going up to Big Bear every weekend. And then I was riding this lift with this guy. And then he was like, yeah, I live up here. And he was lying to me. He said he rode like 80 days because Big Bear is like smaller, right? So you won't be able to like ride that many days. So he said he like lived up there and rode 80 days. And I was doing the math in my hand. I was like, I spent thousands of dollars and I've only been able to come up here on the weekends. I only got to hit 10 times. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to move up to Mammoth. And within like a year or two, I moved up to Mammoth and I lived up there for like 2 winters. And I did 250 days, 7 days a week. Like every morning, I was like, by 6 o'clock, I was ready to suit up and just like rip it for like...
Okay. I had no idea we were going to get into this conversation. I want to keep going, but real quick, I got to give a big shout out to Stitch for the raid. Yo, Stitch, thank you so much for the raid. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
We got the crew up in here. People.
Okay, but dude, so let me get this straight. You spent all your savings going to Big Bear every weekend. Then you heard this guy talking about living up in Big Bear. So instead of moving to Big Bear, you decided to move to Mammoth, where the weather conditions are like 1,000 times more extreme than Big Bear. I mean, Mammoth is like, you're snowed in a lot.
Though. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was up there in 2010. It had like the most snow in history, 25 feet in like...
We got to dance real quick.
5 days or something. We got...
Keep going though. Keep telling the story. Okay, we can stop now. We can. Hey, Shamanic Krantz. Hey.
Shamanic digging the dance.
But yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, I was. We were snowed in, a lot of snow, and it was one of the most amazing times of my life. Like, I mean, like it was incredible. Like those who have done ski or snow sports, like living up in the mountains is the way to go. You like live and breathe it like 7 days a week. Yeah.
Now, what were you doing for work at that time?
The first job I got up there was just like a lift, like they call them the lifties. So I worked the lifts the first season, and then the second season, my buddy who worked the lifts got into the Westin, and he was like, "Let me hook you up with this job." So we were kind of like bellhops, or like we were like carrying bags. But the thing about the Westin is the rooms were like $600 and up minimum. So everybody goes there, like Arnold. I even like parked like whose car? The guy from Donnie Darko. Like he came by, like all the celebrities stayed there. So like I was making like hella bank nighttime, like a lot of money. People like tipping like crazy, and then in the daytime I was like snowboarding like all day, and yeah, that was pretty prime.
Dang. Okay. I want to, dude. Okay, that's just like you are a straight up extremist. I mean, bro, that is insane.
I parked his car at Chaotic Cat, not like met him. He like drove up his Beamer, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna park his car in the garage.
Yo, Devin, thank you so much for the sub, bro. Yo, Marvin. Okay, so I want to backtrack a little bit. So tell me about your very first snowboarding experience. I mean, did you eat shit like 95% of the time, or did you? I have a feeling like you literally got on the snowboard and you were just able to fucking do it right off the bat.
No. Like snowboarding, I think people that don't do it think it's like way easier than you think and imagine. When you get up there, I feel like I'm like a pretty well balanced guy, right? I played ball for like 16 years. You know, I got a little bit decent of balance.
Right.
It took me about 3-4 days, like 8 hours straight. Like the first and second day, you're just on your ass. Like especially on Big Bear, like it hurts your tailbone, and it's really difficult. And it takes about 3-4 days to finally start like moving. And then after like 250 days, I was hitting like 30-foot jumps, doing like 180s, a little bit on the smaller ones. And I could like straight line 45 miles an hour on both feet. But I was already too late. But by the time I was at that level, I was already like mid-20s. And most people start at 10 or 12 years old, so they can be pros by like 18 or 17. So I was already too old for it. But I did it though. I did the thing.
What? Wait, so did you ever compete?
No. I only had 250 days under my belt. Those that compete, they have thousands of days, like 3,000-4,000 days, like of like mileage. Like, you know, you start at a young age, and you're able to like huck yourself at like. I've seen people get like hurt. There was this guy who was on my same like season. He like just on the lunch break, he just went down, and at Mammoth, the jumps, some of them are like 95 feet gap. It's like almost 2 houses.
Oh yeah.
And he like launched past the gap, land like overshoot it or whatever. He broke his lungs into 4 places and had to be like helied out. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Snowboarding is like,
dude. It's like insane.
Did like, you ever? Go ahead.
Did I ever get hurt? I think was your next question.
Yeah, or like, did you ever have an experience? I mean, similar to that, or like a real bad wipeout?
I was like trying to learn how to spin on like the 15-foot jumps, like the 180, 360s, and I ate it a couple times, and like I couldn't walk for like a day, and that was like the most serious one. And then I knew that I was like too old for it. It's weird because it's like you need to have the balls to like try it and huck it, right?
Yeah.
But then you also need the youth to like kind of like recover, because if you miss and you land wrongly, you're like out, you know. And but then if you don't have the courage to hit it, you won't. It's weird. It's like it's crazy.
No, I totally get you. I mean, I used to skateboard all the time back when I was younger, and
skateboard is hardcore.
Yeah, I realized like if you're gonna go for something, like I used to love, you know, doing stairs. I used to love doing gaps. I used to love what I used to do is me and my friends would skate around the neighborhood, and we'd look for different houses that had like crazy gaps that we can like ollie over, heel flip over, tray flip over, whatever, and we would challenge ourselves and do it. And I realized the only way you're ever going to land a trick is if you have no fear at all. Because as soon as you hesitate, if you're going for something and you hesitate, that's split second. You're not going to make it. And on top of that, you're probably going to hurt yourself. So you got to have, even if you think you can't do it, you got to trick yourself into believing you could do it. Because, I mean, if you don't believe in yourself, you probably shouldn't try the trick, because you are going to end up getting hurt most of the time, you know?
Talking about it, are you born and raised in LA?
Well, actually, I grew up in Orange County up until I was about 12 years old, and then I moved to the Inland Empire, and I've been living here ever since. But I was born and raised in California.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but my parents are Middle Eastern. I'm actually Jordanian.
Okay. Do you speak any other languages besides English?
Yeah, I speak very broken Arabic, but I can understand it perfect. But when I try to speak it to like, it's funny. 3 years ago, I went to go visit Jordan for the very first time. So I was able to meet all of my family that I had never met before. And every time I would talk to them, they would understand what I was saying, but they would literally just laugh and chuckle and like make fun of me. And then I'm just like, you know, it hurt inside. I was like, dude, you guys can understand me. Why are you still making fun of me? But I never realized how broken my Arabic was until that moment. But
It reminds me of like even now, like I feel like I was on Jesse Fox's stream
mhm.
and he pulled out like a one ball and he started doing contact juggling. And then I went ahead and like typed something in chat saying like, "Oh, Bill should pick up one ball because like one ball, it's like when you think about one ball, just like manipulating one ball, it's like an easier kind of like approach. But then when you look at a club, typically if you look at a club, you think right away you need three. You don't think about like, oh, I'll just manipulate one. That's kind of like what most people think about. And so right when I said that, I feel like sometimes like because like I'm an immigrant and where I come from in Asia, like it's kind of like not a lot of like political correctness. And so sometimes these things come out as like not like a malicious way of saying something, but just like oh, but actually one ball is actually really really difficult. It's like one of the most difficult prop because you can push it really far.
Right.
But right when I said that, I forgot that the inner Uncle Roger of me like came out, and it was kind of like it is kind of like a little bit offensive, you know, like kind of like, oh yeah, Jesse Fox doing one ball, that's like super easy. Just don't do, you know what I mean?
Oh,
and I think that's kind of
yeah.
like similar, yeah. And also
Yeah.
like last night we were hanging out in the fire pit on my Discord,
Mhm.
and Side Flip was in there, and there was like a bunch of people. And then a few nights ago, Jennifer was like, "Oh, Side Flip, like what camera does he use? Like it looks super nice, like a DSLR."
Right.
And then last night he was in there, and I was like, "Hey, Cyflip, your camera kind of like looks kind of like shitty and like has like pixels.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with that?" And everybody was like, "Oh, dude, this is like like
Burn!
douche thing to say, bro."
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I wasn't being like malicious or like trying to be a douche. I was just trying to point out if my video looks choppy, I hope people would say it to me. But then I forget, you know, that's kind of like the immigrant in me coming out, or Uncle Roger, just kind of like stating the fact. And,
Right, right.
But yeah, so I kind of relate to you about the Arabic stuff when you're like there and you're like speaking and then kind of like laugh. It's kind of like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And you know what? Also, something that like you bringing that up, it's so much different to text somebody or to type and say something versus like actually talking to somebody face to face. Because I feel like if you were to tell your friend face to face, like, oh, hey, I went into your stream and your camera looked pixelated, what's up with that? You know, they would understand the context of where you're coming from. So I don't think it would really be taken that way. But you know, when you're just typing or texting somebody, it's
it was
really
in the Discord and everybody had like the video on. So I get
oh,
what you're saying, yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
is still taken that way. But yeah, no, I find myself in those situations a lot because I'm a very sarcastic person, but sometimes I could take it a little too far. Or
Uncle
like,
Marvin and Jesse Foxes.
oh yeah, Uncle Marvin. But yeah, no, I totally get you. Sometimes, like, you know, we'll say things and we don't mean them, you know, in a negative way or to be hateful, but then they're kind of taken that way and it's like, oh shit, wait, okay, you know.
Because I don't know about the Middle East, but in Asia, like where I grew up, it's like there's not a lot of political correctness. So for example, a lot of people have like similar names, like let's say Michael, and like an Asian name, like any Asian name, let's say A, you know, and everybody, there's like multiple A's. And in the group, sometimes there's like four guys that has the same name, and then we would have to differentiate them, and then we'll call them, yeah, you're small A, you're big A, you're fat A, and then you're like young A.
Oh damn,
then,
fat A, just straight up like that?
Just straight up, and they just own it. They're just like, yeah, I'm fat A, and then everybody just, you know, and you're skinny A or whatever, and they're just like, that's just how people
and that's
roll.
cool. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's just how people roll in Asia. It's weird, you know, like, and my wife got to experience that when she like went. It was like, damn, people just like say these things straight up. It's like, oh shit. And if you're like in LA or in America, it's like, oh shit. It's like you know what I mean? But yeah.
Dang, that's so crazy. I guess maybe like in a way they have thicker skin when it comes to stuff like that. Because I feel like, you know, over here, like in the States, now, not everybody, but things tend to be, or people tend to be a little more sensitive when it comes to things like that. Where I think like in other countries, you know, the culture is a little bit different. So something like that may not even be a big deal. But like if I were to call somebody, oh, you know, if I had two friends that had the name Blake and I'm like, yo, you're fat Blake. Unless that guy's like my best friend and he knows I'm joking, that person is going to try to punch me in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but I think also because like in Asia, it's a little bit less diverse too, because everybody's Asian and everybody's hair is black, you know, and like somewhere like in the United States, it's like such a melting pot. There's so many types of people. So like the culture is kind of like cross blend. So some things they just don't fly, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I totally get you. So okay, let's go back to snowboarding. So when did you decide to stop snowboarding or stop taking it as seriously as you did?
So I was living up there the second season. I did about like 200 something days on that mountain. I like explored everywhere. Like rode across like a frozen lake in the backside, the back country, like everything. And but the thing about like a snowboarding town is that it's very bro. It's like very bro. Everybody's young. Everybody's up there playing video games, smoking weed, you know. And I was like kind of like in my mid 20s.
Uh-huh.
And I was at that point where like I just came back from Burning Man 2, and I was kind of like learning how to like spin poi and stuff like that. And that's kind of touching into like the flow and circus community, which is like a cool thing that we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Right.
And I felt like I wanted to progress in my life, and being there wasn't bringing me that. And even though I got to snowboard every day, it wasn't cutting it anymore. And then so like I came back down to LA and started like re-strategizing what I wanted to do. But yeah.
Wow.
And I also too old to be pro at that point. But yeah.
Oh, wow. Real quick, I just want to say, Jesse Fox, you're totally right. He said, I think here it depends on your level of friendship in the States. I can totally relate to that because, you know, like me and my best friends, as soon as we see each other, I'm like, yo, what's up, you little piece of shit? Yeah, whatever, dude, you know? And we just start, like, talking trash nonstop, like, the whole entire night. And, I mean, especially for drinking, you know, the more we drink, the more we start talking trash
Right.
and the more we start laughing. But if I were to go up to somebody that I didn't know at all and I was like, yo, what's up, dude? Yo, your shoes look like shit. Even if I said it in a playful way, you know, if I don't know that person and we don't have that strong friendship bond, that person is going to be pissed, you know? So I
Right.
totally agree, Jesse. But wow, so Marvin, for you, that's very interesting. Now, was there a little bit of sadness when you realized like maybe you were a little too old to go pro? That must have hurt just a little bit, right?
It did when I was like living up there and watching the kids kind of like train and stuff, and just realized that one, I was like too old, and two, I felt like I didn't also have. I thought I was extreme, right? But I wasn't extreme enough. Like I saw like the pros that were up there, they were like young 20s, and when you live up there, like you would ride every day, and then when there's like a shitty day where it's like cold and you can't even see it, everything's icy, you just won't ride. You'll just take the day off. And then I see those pros just out there riding. They're just out there all day. And then I thought to myself, wow,
Whoa.
I thought I was at the extreme one, but apparently not extreme enough. That's part of it. And then part of it, I was like, yeah, I was like too old to go pro. But yeah.
Whoa, that's crazy. So no matter what the weather conditions were, those pros were still out there training every single day.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah. And then the other part was like, yeah, I was like ready to like I said, like progress. And then the other thing is like when you live on a mountain for so long and you've done so many days of snowboarding on a mountain, especially it's nice when you go to like a new mountain and then you kind of like explore the terrain and all that stuff. So when I rode that mountain, I knew that mountain like the back of my hand, you know. And so it kind of like it wasn't that exciting anymore. I think the saddest part about it is when I knew that when I was gonna move back down, I knew that I couldn't afford to go to like Whistler or like a big mountain, and my standards were too high to go to like a small mountain. And I knew that when I came back down, it would have.
It wouldn't
That's
cut
it.
it.
This will be the end. This will be the end. Once I leave here, I remember the last day we rode the last time, and then we packed up our stuff, and I was like, this is the end. Like I knew, like when I drove away from mountain, because I won't be able to like move up to another mountain again and live somewhere, and I don't have that money to like go to like a big mountain, because you know. And for me, going to like a ski resort and like go skiing for like 2-3 days means nothing to me. I want to be there like living in. And so like it was like this kind of like tough middle place that I'm in. But yeah, but that's because also I'm an extreme person. I'm sure anybody that goes and ski and snowboard for like 2-3 days and they have a great time, and that's it. And for me, it's like if I want to do it, I don't know, I just need to do it the right way or something. Not the right way, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, dude, that's wow. That is so crazy. So when you came down, have you gone snowboarding ever since, or was that it?
Since I've been back down, it's been over 10 years, and I've been twice. I was in Lake Louise in Calgary visiting my sister-in-law, Siegra. Sometimes you'll see her floating on Twitch. She's getting into Twitch. And 2 winters ago, me and Jennifer drove up to Park City, for like a couple days, and I rode it. It was fun, but it's interesting. It's like a bittersweet feeling. When I was like riding the mountain, I knew that like I didn't have the flame in me anymore, like before, like where I like had all the clothes, I had like the magazines and like I all the gear. I still have all the gear. It's just like I'm no
Wow.
longer in the core of it. But yeah,
Bro, that's you're a real extremist, man. Holy crap.
very.
Somebody
Yeah.
said Marvin become or needs to become the mountain. Bro, like okay, this is insane because okay, juggling is like your main thing right now. At least now it is. At least in my
Twitch now
perspective.
is my main thing, I think. But yeah, Twitch.
But I thought we were going to come on
Sort
here
of.
and talk like very deeply about juggling and how you got into juggling and Twitch. But I had no idea you were like really this crazy extremist who lived on a mountain for 2 years because you fell in love with snowboarding. I mean, I'm really excited to hear about the juggling, man. Like, how did you get into it? Was there a moment where, yeah, how'd you get into
You
it? What
talk about
happened?
like you know how you call me your stepdad, right?
Yeah, we should talk
And
about that later too. The story.
it comes from like the culture of rave culture. If somebody brings you a rave, you're like your rave dad, right? So D John Everett just like popped up here on stream. That's my flow dad. He like literally taught me how to like spin stuff. Like
Wow, no way.
John Everett. He's also named also AKA Alien John. He's like a legend in the community. Like
Oh, wow. Wow, it's an honor
and
to have you here. Thank you.
how did I learn how to spin stuff? I think like if I like compress it real quick, like when I was 16 in the mid 90s, like some girl, I was talking to some girl from Malaysia, and she was like, "Have you heard
Uh-oh.
of like trance
Marvin the
music?"
player. I'm just kidding.
And I was like, "No." And it took her like an hour to send me that track, and it was Tiesto Traffic, and it was like my
Ooh.
first like EDM track. And after I listened to it, and the next thing she sent me was like a Melbourne Shuffle video that took like 2 hours to send or whatever. And after from that on, I was like listening to like electronic music pretty much my whole life. This is like electronic music is like my main music that I listen to. I don't listen to like any other genre. There's like all EDM stuff. And then so when I came to the States, I knew that all these like big massives were in LA, and I was like able to like go to these massives. And I was going to these raves for like 4 or 5 years with my Asian crew. Talking about that real quick, like so when I moved to LA, when I was 20, I was like so ready. I was like, I'm gonna see Kobe. I'm gonna meet all these people, and I'm gonna have the time of my life. Gonna rewrite my life. And my friends back home were like, "You crazy, dude?" He's like, "You're 20 years old. You don't know anybody there. You're gonna go there, and you're just gonna be like." And when I got here, the first month was like amazing. My mom brought me to like San Francisco, Vegas, everywhere. And then after the second month, imagine this: my entire life, I never knew or even heard of the word depression and knew what it was. And I got to like experience it after 2 months being here in the United States in LA. Because when I got here, I tried to like meet everybody. I tried to like, back then there's no Facebook or cell phones, and we're just trying to like get their cell phones and names and whatever. And
Right.
every person I met would just get my number, and I'll never see them again. And it will like happen and again and again and again. And I was just like, my God, I was like, I can't meet anybody in this town. What the fuck? And then so I met some like Malaysian people, and then there was like my crew. Like there was like slowly there was like 200 of us Asians. We were like all in Alhambra. We like hang out in Alhambra, and like we'll go to like massives together. We'll go to like dinner together, like 10 deep, and like we'll go, roll up to a rave, like 30 of us. And that was like my life
Dang.
for 4 or 5 years. Every time you see like an Asian crew like hanging out at raves, that is why, because they feel like they couldn't connect with the American culture, especially they're an immigrant. If they're not born here, then they have a tough time assimilating. And that was me, and that was like kind of like the loneliest ever I've ever felt in my entire life when I was 20, when I was living in LA, like facing depression, and I was just like wearing the same clothes, just watching TV, and like I just couldn't believe it. And I
Wow.
was like, and I think that is like one of the spark, like that moment and that feeling. I have carried that with me my entire life, and that's why community is above everything. Like I do not want another person to experience what I did if I can like kind of like provide them with like being just a friend. And I think
Right.
that's kind of like my main like representation of like who I am in my life. And then
Wow.
I started going to raves, and then one of my friend, like after 4 or 5 years, he at EDC 2007, Above and Beyond was playing main stage.
Oh,
He gave
above
me a
and
pair of
beyond.
yeah, we were down at the Coliseum. He like gave me a pair of glow sticks. He like put it in my hand, like literally, and he like showed me how to do this kind of like figure eight thingy.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. My hands were like just so stiff. He had to like hold my hand and try to do it, and I still couldn't do it. And I was like so mad at myself. And I was like, it looks so simple. Why can't I do this? So I went home, pulled up YouTube, and there was like a bunch of like kind of like glow stringing and like freehanding stuff. And that's kind of like the beginning. So I learned how to like glow string for like 2 3 years. And then Ronan, which is like a legend in the community, basically invented contact poi. So you've seen it a little bit. It's kind of like a
Yeah. Go ahead and demonstrate it. By the way, what's up,
like
Flo
a
Mamba? How you doing?
it's
Thank you for coming in.
is these poi that has like a small handle at the end and a stage ball. It's like rope with a ball, so you can start throwing it and start rolling it around your body. And
Wow.
so, and it's funny because I feel like a lot of people in the community, like in the fire community, it's like attracted by fire. So first you see fire, and then right away you go like, "Oh my God, that's cool! I want to do that."
Right.
But I was like the opposite. Like when I saw fire, and even though I couldn't do fire, I could see past the technique and see like they're only doing 10 tricks over there. I'm doing 20 tricks here with the glow stick. I
But
don't
the
get
fire,
it. Why?
the fire makes it more interesting to people
Totally.
sometimes,
To
right?
people, to most people, yeah. And to me, I was like the rare ones. Like and that's why we talk about Jesse Fox with his knives and stuff. Like people are attracted to different things.
Right.
A lot of people are attracted to the bang, to the fire, which is really cool. But for me, like right then, before I was even a juggler, I could see past the technique. The important thing was the technique. The important thing was the exploration of motion, and that was kind of like me. I was already a juggler before a juggler. You know what I mean? And then once they invented contact point in 2009, I was like, okay, now we're talking. We're talking like a whole different ball game here. We're talking about throwing it. We're talking about rolling it. There's like a whole different like area of kind of like manipulating this prop without the fire. And then so then I got into poi, and then I met Burning Dan, which is like my Burning Dan and John here, Ellie and John there. I met them together on the same day. So Burning Dan, bless his soul, he R.I.P. He ran this jam. We call them a jam, where like you would go to a park on Sunday and you hold space and you tell people about it, and people come and spin poi and learn and stuff like that. So I saw somebody wrote this random blog about the parties that he was throwing. It was called the Flow Temple Party in LA. It was in a church in Venice, and there would be people spinning fire inside the church, people playing acoustic music, people like painting and sculpting and all this stuff.
Wow. Full of creativity.
And I was like, dude, that is like the coolest thing ever. I need to go to this thing. So I added him on Facebook. I met him in 2009 summer, and that's where I met John, who's in the chat here. Like both of them walked up, and I remember Dan. So basically, he's not only my flow dad, but he is the one that brought me into the community, and that's how I met thousands of people after. And Dan walked up to me, and before that, I was just like super basic, right? I was like a raver. I smoked, and I, and Dan walked up to me. He said the first thing he said to me, he's like, "Oh, you must be Marvin," and he gave me a hug. And Dan had all these dreads and all, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when he hugged me, that first hug, it
Did you feel
was
your balls
so-
drop?
it was
No, I'm
crazy
just kidding.
because Asian people, one, we don't really hug. That's in general. Americans, Western culture, there's more of like a hugging thing. But when he hugged me though, it felt like he knew me my whole life. But then it wasn't too long of a hug that it felt awkward. It was just the right pressure and the right amount of time. And when he let go, I was just completely like blown away. It was like, dude, this guy
Wow.
is like, you know what I mean? It was like truly something special.
You can feel
And-
the energy.
Totally. And then John was there, and John was like showing me like some contact juggling and spinning poi, and my mind was just like blown. I was like, what is this guy doing? It's like blowing my mind. And I was like, who are you, man? What do you do, man? And John, Alien John, will be like, yeah, I teach poi and travel the world. And I was like, what do you mean you
all
teach poi and
casual?
travel the world? Yeah. And I was like, show me the way. I need to do that. And so that was like the beginning. And that's kind of like how I kind of like got introduced to the community. I went to Burning Man with Dan and went to my first Fire Drums. Fire Drums is like the original like fire and flow festival. And so you have the rave culture, you have people doing glow sticks, and you have like Burning Man, and that's where like flow arts kind of like came to be. It's an American term. It's a marketing term created to like kind of like promote this different style, like manipulating object. It derives from fire spinning originally, but over the years, because of the internet and stuff, it kind of like transform and shift. And so yeah, that's kind of like the intro, the beginning.
Wow. Okay. So that's an incredible story already, and I have a lot more questions. But something I want to ask you, it's something that really stood out to what you said. You said when you watched that person juggling fire, you were able to see through the technique before you were a juggler. Now, my question is, do you think it's because you were such an extremist and learned different crafts such as basketball and snowboarding? Because now, like, you know, I've spent a lot of time and a lot of years playing guitar, and you know, learning whatever craft it is, when you hone in, when you focus on one thing and you really learn that thing and you internalize it and you get better at it, you start realizing when you start learning other crafts and other things, it's almost like it makes it a little bit easier in the beginning stages where you go through that learning curve when things are really hard. Because you kind of know that what you need to do is you got to feel the technique, you got to get these techniques down, and it's more about like muscle memory and doing it all the time. And then eventually your body's just going to internalize it and you're going to get better at it no matter what the craft is. Now, do you think it was your competitive mindset where you were able to see the fire and you weren't even like that impressed by the fire? You were more like, hey, I can kind of see what he's doing and it's not that crazy compared to this. Do you think that had anything to do with it?
Funny, because I was recently on my vacation. I was hanging out with Flowfest Cassandra, and we had kind of like the same topic. And then she said the same thing. She said like she didn't use the word extremist, but she said just because how I'm like kind of like hardcore and how I analyze things, just the way I am, that kind of like that's why I was able to see past the fire. Like, and I think it's sometimes it's a disadvantage, right? Because like being able to like analytical break all these things down sometimes take me out of the moment and enjoyment of the simpleness of what things can be, while people just can enjoy it as what it is, while I over here have to like break it down into like the smallest pieces and find like the like, you know what I mean?
No, dude, I 100% totally know what you mean, because for me, you know, as a musician and especially as a session musician, you know, before COVID, I was playing with like 5-6 different bands and I had to learn a lot of music. So, you know, when I have to learn a song, I listen to the song over and over again. I listen to the parts, I listen to the dynamics, I really dissect it. So now when I listen to music, like a brand new song, it's almost like I have to flip the switch and tell myself, dude, enjoy the song. Stop trying to like figure out what the chords are and what the instruments are and what the mix is doing. You know, it's like it's really hard to turn that off and just enjoy shit to enjoy it versus trying to analyze it and figure out, oh, I want to, you know, figure out what they're doing and see why they're doing it and why it worked. It's honestly, and now I'm like, go ahead. I'm analyzing Twitch into like that rabbit hole too. Like every little I was like talking to like 420 music. He jumped into the fire pit. We're just talking about the metric. Like Hopscotch was like kind of like making fun of me, calling it the sauce. What is the secret sauce? What is the secret sauce of Twitch? How does this all work? Yeah. It's honestly like it's a blessing and a curse, because obviously it's very beneficial, because, you know, people who think like this are usually going to get pretty damn good at whatever their mind is set to be good at, because, you know, you're analyzing things and you're constantly looking for ways to get better. But when it comes to enjoyment and being in the moment, that's the part where it starts to become a struggle, because, you know, in the end, life is all about, you know, trying to do what you love, trying to really enjoy the moment. Totally. And not everything's a competition.
But
you know?
DJ Alien John in here, like who's in the chat, my teacher, I guess I would call him, his mind moves even crazier than mine. Like he's like, if you think like I'm like kind of like very analytical, he's like moving 9,000 steps ahead, like just like that's why they call him like Alien John.
Dang.
You gotta meet him now. He's
insane. Hey bro, that sounds crazy. I definitely want to have a conversation with this dude. I love people like that, because you can learn so much from them and their perspective. You know, I love conversations where you speak to somebody.
I had another
Go ahead.
friend, John Routson, Flow Dragon, who sometimes jump into the stream. He also had a really good like example. He said like there's two kinds of like samurais. There's one that is always like sharpening their blade, just like all day, all night. And then there's one that just like pulls it out, and even though it's rusty, they can play and move around with it. And I'm definitely the one that is always like just there, just like sharpening it over and over and over again,
Yeah.
never like pulling it out.
You know, what I'm thinking of as he said that, did you ever watch Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah, I did watch Dragon Ball Z when it came out. Yeah.
So
back
I'm
in the
kind of
90s.
thinking about like Goku, where Goku is kind of like he's always training, but he's always having a good time, and he's kind of like stupid in the sense of he's always just enjoying the moment, and he doesn't like overthink things. And then you got Vegeta. Vegeta, the only thing on Vegeta's mind is kicking Goku's ass, and he's constantly training. But he was never really able to surpass Goku. Now, I'm talking about Dragon Ball Z, not the new anime.
Yeah.
But, you know, you do got those two different types of people where somebody is just like more in tune with the moment and they're very, very skillful. But then you got the other person who's more of like the machine, always hammering down, always practicing. You know, it's kind of funny.
Right.
It's kind of funny. But those two people are very important to whatever the craft is. And those two people can learn a lot from each other, which is the beautiful thing, you know?
For sure.
But okay, so you talked to me about how you got into juggling. Now, I mean, I heard that you started traveling the world and you became a full-time juggler. Talk to me about that process and what happened.
So I went to Fire Drums, which is like kind of like the convention, the fire festival, and there's a lot of workshops. People like are flying in from international, like overseas, and doing all that stuff. It was my first time connecting with all these people and learning from all of them. And then I got really into it. So I was like practicing at that point, maybe like 3 to 5 hours a day, spinning poi for like 3-4 years straight. And at that time, I got pretty good. And I started putting out content, and that's how a lot of people kind of like start noticing me. I mean, Shamanic is like, she met me on Instagram by seeing me just posting stuff. A lot of people that saw me in my work, and then people start reaching out to me and say, hey, would you come out to our festival and like teach a workshop?
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I think after the first year, I got into the community in 2010. 2011 was the first time somebody reached out to me, which is Grim, which is Jesse Fox's friend. And he was like, hey, would you come out to Ohio? We'll pay your flight and stuff like that. I'll even pay with my own money, in my own pocket to like get you out here.
Whoa.
And I was like, sure, why not? And then so I went to like one festival, and then when I got there, I was teaching a workshop. I got to like meet hundreds of people. People were like learning from me, and that's how I met Jesse Fox actually, and a bunch of other people. And after that, the next festival, and then I met the organizers and all these different things, and they were like, "Oh, you got to come to my festival." And the first year I went to like 4 festivals. The second year I went to like 12, and then the following year I went to like 20 something, which is almost every 2 weeks. And at that point, my brother, he was like, "Hey, you're going to all these things. They all need equipment. Why don't we start partnering up? We'll get a loan, and we'll start selling equipment. They're flying you out there anyways, and so we'll start with that." And I was like, sure. And then that's how like kind of like the Masterong thing kind of like came to be. And then and then we had a local festival here in like LA. It was like the first one in 2012, which was called Ignite. And I was like part of the workshop coordinator. I was like part of like bringing the people in and stuff. So I wanted to make a video to kind of like promote the festival.
Right.
And then it was Jennifer's idea, my wife. She was like, dude, I got this idea. We'll dress you up as like Fu Manchu, and then you'll speak Chinese, and we'll have subtitles. It'll be hilarious. It'll be hilarious.
That's so awesome.
And then so I've never grown a beard in my life, right? I'm just like, I don't know, I just like, and then she took her old like rave boot covers, cut it up, and took some tape, and then put it together. I still have that video.
Oh,
and then
show it.
And I filmed that video, and right after I filmed that video, and I'm like a very reserved and kind of like calm. I'm not really like an entertainer or performer, you know. But once I put on that beard, I was able to kind of like let loose a little bit, and I was like, wow, this is kind of like weird. And that's what a lot of like clowning and character work is, like actors, right? They're able to like become somebody else. And then right after I did that video, I was like, we got to name the character. We'll call him Master Ong. And it was kind of like a joke, like straight up a joke. So I'll go to the festival, and only my friends that knew me would be like, ha ha ha, Master Ong, Master Ong. You know, it was kind of like a total inside joke. And from there, we started selling props. And then we were like, what should we call our business? we'll call it the Masterong's prop shop. That's the logo right here because it has the last name Ong, which means
Yeah.
king. And that was like kind of like the beginning. And then we started selling props. I started traveling all around these places, and I'll travel around all the U.S. They'll pay me to fly all over. I was on a plane every week, and then I would go by myself to Europe and train to like learn more techniques, and then come back because the props were from Europe too. And then friends were like, so there's people that flew me to Asia. I was able to go back to Asia, did gigs, performed, taught workshops, and I was traveling full time for 7 years. 7 years, 20 something countries. Probably rotate the Earth like 3 times. The only place that I didn't
Wow.
go was like China and like Russia because the U.S. and the Europe were more connected, and I had connections in Asia. I was able to go to South America too because I had some connections down there. So I went down there as well to Brazil and Argentina to like learn more from like the differences between like circus and flow and technique, and what do people out there do, the government and like and all the different things. But yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. Okay, so I have a few questions. So where do I want to start? First of all, bro, that must have been a crazy experience. My question is, you were so you went from like finding out about juggling to people finding you on social media, and then people actually paying to fly you out to teach workshops. You were still new at juggling. How long did it take you? In terms of years, how long did it take you until you got good enough to where people were hitting you up and willing to pay for your flight? How long what was that process?
I think like so there's kind of like different kinds of like approach here. I think there's like the corporate approach where you can, as long as you have like a lot of good costumes and a lot of like a good marketable like product, it doesn't have to be like too technical. You can get a lot of gigs, and like that's probably like one of the main outlets how people make money, like by
Right.
performing, doing corporate gigs because they have the money. Like my avenue was like very non-traditional because there was already this community that was kind of like developing over those years,
Right.
and the community is more like they're not really about like pocketing or making a lot of money, but they just want to be there because for the sense of community. And so like at that point people were like kind of like putting in their efforts and their time to kind of like foster this community. And so when this community was kind of like developing, I feel like when they invited me out to start teaching, I think from the moment I picked up those glow sticks till like the first time I was like going to on a plane was like 4 years.
Okay, and for those
Yeah.
4 years, I mean, okay, I heard what you did with snowboarding. I mean, you literally moved up to a fucking mountain. How
Right.
often were you practicing, and like what was your work ethic
Yeah.
like?
I
I
was
mean,
I was practicing like I was like working a regular job, and I was practicing 3 to 5 hours, like 7 days a week. I had a mirror, and I would stand in front of the mirror and practice like all day. That's all I did. But then when after like I that was poi, and then when I got into like juggling and I went to Europe and then circus, and it was like a whole different level because I thought I was like training, right? I thought I was like doing like pretty hardcore stuff, 3 to 5 hours a day.
yeah.
But when I got there, I realized just like snowboarding, like the circus people, a lot of them started training when they were like 12 years old, and they're now in the 30s, and they've trained like 7 hours like a day for like 5 days, like 20 years. You know what I mean? Like it's like a whole different
Wow.
level. And after I saw that and saw what was possible by the human body and the control and the expression, and like I watched juggling shows where it like brought me to tears. Just the beautifulness of motion and creativity and kind of like dance. And then after I came back from Europe in 2013, I was going at it for like anywhere from it was 3 to 5 hours a day, and then it went up to like anywhere from 3 to 7 hours a day, 7 days a week for like 7 years or something like that. Yeah, it was just like committed. It was like almost like a monk. Like I'm just like fully committed to this thing and training. There's definitely pros and cons and like stuff with it. I think like the beautiful part of it is that I couldn't believe I found something that was like so aligned with everything I believe, and I was able to train fully like in that like kind of like mindset. But when you do that, you also neglect all the rest of the stuff, like it's like human beings just have limited time. So when you like focus all your time on something, all the other stuff is neglected. Your relationships, your friendships, financial, like health, and there's a lot of different stuff that I kind of like neglected over the years. And then towards the end, in 2016, after like 3-4 years, like yeah, 3-4 years of traveling, I felt the burnout. I was like in a completely different city in Europe, and I felt nothing. I was just like, I just literally felt nothing in my heart, and I was like, I knew it was time to go home and re-strategize what I want to do. And yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy.
So almost a similar thing that happened on that mountain, right? In a sense,
Yeah, totally,
where you literally just realized, you know what? I need to do something else. I need to re-strategize, and I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Now,
totally.
one thing that stood out, man, while you were talking was when you put all your marbles into something and you literally dedicate all your spare time to that thing to get good at it because you love it and you're passionate. It's so hard to balance, family and I mean,
Totally.
if you're in a relationship. Dude, it's so tough, and I could totally
Totally.
relate because, like for me, I was a musician. I picked up guitar when I was about 11, 12 years old. But back then, I was in middle school. I was in high school. I would play off and on. I was also skateboarding. I wasn't really serious. And at the age of 17, I played my first ever show at this place called Chain Reaction. It was just me. I was a guitar player. I played this acoustic show. It was me and my guitar. I was a singer-songwriter. I ended up playing the show. Long story short, I played the show. My guitar was out of tune. There was only like 7 people in the audience. 5 of those people I brought to the show. It was just like a complete disaster. So after that experience, I decided to stop playing guitar and I completely quit music for 2 years. And then when I was about 19, I realized there's no way that I can quit music. And the funny thing is, during that 2-year period of me quitting, I try to get into different things like basketball. I started going to the gym, practicing basketball every day for like 7 hours a day. Like 4 to 7 hours every single day, nonstop, just to get good. Just because, I'm an extremist too. And when I get into something, I don't get into it for fun. I like to get into it and I want to be able to compete. I want to be able to test myself. So, I ended up doing basketball very seriously for like a few months. And then I got into archery and I did that for a few months. Then I got into hiking. I got into a bunch of different things. But while I was doing all that, in my head, I knew that music was the one thing I wanted to do. Every single day I'd wake up and I'd look at my guitar and I knew that I had to play it. I wanted to play it, but I would tell myself, no, I'm going to let it go. But anyway, after those 2 years, when I went back to music, I realized, dude, I'm already 19. There's a lot of people that are like 13, 14, 15 who have been playing guitar since they were 5 years old, that have been practicing every single day of their lives, and I'm like way behind. So you know what? I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to start practicing hardcore. And when I decided to do that, I literally like stopped talking to my best friends for like 2-3 years. They would call me all the time to hang out. I literally had to drop everything that I was doing, and it was such a struggle because I knew I wanted to do it and I did it, but I was also, almost just kind of neglecting the relationships that I used to have and not giving people attention, stopped picking up my phone, stopped really spending time with family. And, it's a really, really tough thing to manage, because you have to practice and you have to put in the time. And that just, you end up sacrificing a lot of, the fun stuff or like
For sure.
the leisure activities you used to do, so...
What's crazy?
What's up?
It's on Deathbringer's stream. I mean, I feel like if I trace back my like steps, besides the people in chat that I've known and from my community, if I trace back to the steps of like the Twitch people that I've met, like Deathbringer is kind of like the main connect. Like, and I remember on Deathbringer's stream, he brings in a variation of people. And then on one time, the first time he ever mentioned you, and you were on his thing. And then he was like, "Oh, Jason Masoud, this guy, you definitely need to check him out." And he gave you like a little bit of a spiel or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And of all the people from Deathbringer stream, like it stood out to me the most on checking you out, and that's why I followed you like early on and kind of like checked your stuff, like kind of like in the beginning. And I feel like we definitely do have some kind of like similarities in our like personality trait in that kind of like matter, in that the pursuit of that one thing.
Right.
And it's definitely a beautiful chase because you're like totally zoned in, but then for sure it's like you pay the price.
Oh yeah. And now, a question that I have for you is, okay, now you're like focused on Twitch, right? And it's really hard for me. Now, this is my experience because I'm also doing Twitch, I'm also content creating, but I also have to practice guitar all the time because I want to get better. And it's really really hard for me to take a day off where I take a day and I just literally hang out and chill. I don't worry about video editing, I don't worry about streaming, making YouTube videos, practicing guitar. It's so hard for me to do that because as soon as I do that for like, 2 or 3 hours in a day, my mind starts telling me, dude, there's other people out there that are grinding, right? There's other people out there that are making sure they're better, that they're going to be better, that they're going to get better at whatever craft it is, whatever they're pursuing. It's really, really hard for me to just kind of shut that competitiveness in my brain and just enjoy time or like do something like go outside for a day, have a picnic with my girlfriend. Do you experience that still? Like, is it hard for you to shut that off in your brain? Because I know you're passionate. You're passionate. It's hard to turn it off.
It's definitely hard to turn it off. I feel like talking about Twitch. Like I feel like in the last 6 months, I've kind of like dove into this like Twitch rabbit hole for sure. Like I had like more Twitch dreams than I can like even remember. I have like Twitch dreams. I talk about Twitch. I'm on Discord, and like part of it is like kind of like the alignment of like COVID and all the stuff here. And it's definitely hard to like turn it off. But I think my wife Jennifer does a great job, like sometimes being able to like pull me away from like just even like my own kind of like mindset and just kind of like let's just do this a little bit. Let's just do this. So she has kind of like inspired me a little bit, just even to get on the treadmill, and sometimes we go on a walk outside, and the little things. I think the little things. But yeah, it's definitely hard to turn it off.
Right. Now, Deathbringer and Jesse Fox both mentioned something. Let's see. Deathbringer said, I haven't done that in a while now. I feel you. So Deathbringer was actually talking about how he streamed for 100 hours. I think you said this month.
Oh shit.
That I think Deathbringer, you stream every single day, right? Like, dude, that literally just blows my mind, man. And I respect you so much. I respect you a lot for a lot of different reasons, but there's two things that really stands out about Deathbringer. One is if he likes you and he just likes you, he is literally going to try to tell everybody he knows about that person. And he's so good at, like I have met a lot of people through Deathbringer. You're one of them, right? You explain that. And it's just so great that Deathbringer is like such a loving person, and he really brings people together.
Totally.
And he's
definitely
also on the grind, Like,
totally. He's definitely like a community builder. And I feel like I'm the same too. Like above everything else, like community building is like one of my most important thing. And the funny story of how me and Deathbringer met though, because Spencer Sprocket just popped up. Because Spencer Sprocket is like the latest like juggling kid here on Twitch City that
What's up,
we
Spencer?
brought from Matan's stream. I brought Matan brought Spencer. And I was my first week on Twitch. I was watching the compliments. I don't know if you know the compliments. Do you know the compliments, Greg? So I jumped into their stream sometimes, and then I met this guy. I was like typing in the stream, and then this guy was like, "Hey, your last name's Ong. My last name's Ong." So he's like John Composer, John Ong. And then I went and hung out in his stream, and I was on his stream, and then I was like so new, like I didn't know much about Twitch, and I didn't know about like the unspoken rule that you are not to speak about your stream unless spoken to on other people's stream and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I'm on John Ong's stream, and I'm my first week trying to like stream. I like stream a little bit of Fortnite, stream a little bit of juggling, and I kind of want to like push like the juggling content. So he gave me a shout out, and the shout out kind of like showed that I was like playing Fortnite. And I was like, oh no, I don't stream Fortnite. I mainly stream juggling on Sundays. Sundays is my official day. I stream like Tuesday too. So I kind of like explain it in the chat. And again, it's not John Composer's fault. It's definitely my fault because I was new. But John Composer told me that he wasn't too happy about it. He was like, dude, like in Twitch, like people give you a shout out, but you're not really supposed to talk about yourself in chat. And I was like, dang. And then at the same time, I met Deathbringer. And Deathbringer was on John Composer's stream. And Deathbringer, I forgot what Deathbringer said. And as I somehow managed to check him out, and Deathbringer was doing this like weird buying weed stuff. His stuff. Like sometimes it's also crazy. I'm just watching his stream. I was like, man, this is weird. But Twitch is like weird in general. But then Deathbringer said this one thing that really stood out on his stream. And he was like, dude, My stream, it's like you can promote yourself like however. I don't care. I don't go by that rule. Like you can talk about yourself as much as you want. And I was like, dude, that is like totally my jam because you can promote yourself on my stream all day. I don't even care because my goal is to bring people together. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like in my Discord, if you want to promote yourself in my stream, go ahead. I have links open. Go ahead and go for it. And so
Yeah.
that's how me and Devbringer connected in the beginning. And then right from the get go, like we started seeing like people like cross pollinating, like people that I was bringing, and then I met people from Devbringer's side, and it's so cool. It's so cool to see this whole thing kind of like forming in the last 6 months.
Oh yeah,
He's like
no.
the flow uncle.
Yeah, dude, Deathbringer has just he is such a great just community builder and overall dude. Okay, so I think like 4 or 5 days ago, me and Deathbringer were talking on Discord, and he mentioned this guy. I believe his name is Eric Goldberg, and he's a
Yeah.
really really great streamer. I had never seen him before. I had never been into a stream, but he told me about him. So I was like, oh okay. And then he actually told me, yo, Eric Goldberg is live, right? Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Aaron
Aaron,
Goldberg.
Aaron
Yeah.
Goldberg. Okay. Aaron Goldberg.
My
He's like,
great
yo,
uncle.
Aaron Goldberg is on right now. So I was like, oh, okay. So I go on Twitch. I go on Aaron Goldberg's stream. And I'm like, yo, what's up, everybody? As soon as I said that, Deathbringer was in there watching too. Deathbringer was like, yo, what's up, everybody? Jason is an amazing streamer. Everybody go follow him. He's a sick guitar player. Like, literally right off the bat, just starts giving me a shout out. And I'm just like, bro, there's not a lot of people out there like that, you know? Especially
You are really sick with the guitar though. Like I feel like I been like floating around Twitch, and like Jason here, if you guys don't know, is like I feel like one of the most underrated streamers. Like I mean, like you are really good at the guitar, and I like how you just literally improvise. You're just like just going at it, and it's like it's so good.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. And you know what? For me, what I love about music the most is improvisation. I love making stuff up on the spot. I love playing over songs that I've never heard before because it challenges me, especially on Twitch, you know? Like when somebody sends me a song and I'm like, I ask that person, yo, can I improvise over your song? And they say yes. It's a real test. It's like, all right, it puts a lot of pressure on me because one, everything's happening live. So if I completely sound like crap, it is what it is. Like I can't stop it. But there's also that form of expression, which is something that you talked about on your stream, Marvin, about what you loved about juggling is the form of expression and the creativity, right? From the juggler.
Right.
And as a musician, that's something that I really appreciate about musicians, and that's something that I really appreciate about any craft at all. Like, you've taught me a lot about juggling, and when I was in your stream and you were talking about, you know, when you showed a video of some guy who was juggling, I think, 3 clubs, and you said even though he's juggling only 3 clubs, he's literally expressing himself. And
Right.
that's something that I think is so beautiful in any art form. Like when somebody puts in the years and the training to get to a point where they don't really have to think about the technique or how their fingers moving, how they juggle. They could literally just grab the object or whatever they're doing and just
Yeah.
go for it. And that moment, inside of that moment will take them somewhere. And that's something that I love about any art form. You know, it's so beautiful.
Totally. I feel like I'm not like a religious person, but I feel like when that moment happened, when like you become one with the motion, music, whatever you're doing, it's like I feel like you're becoming one with with God, with force. You know, like you're like one in the Zen. You're like in motion. And talking about that, since the whole crew is here, we got Spencer Sprocket. I mean, Shamanic. I feel like the beautiful part about Twitch is like I sometimes float around and check out the streams, whatever. I feel like when all the pieces like fall together, for example, Stitch, we brought Stitch here, starting streaming. She started streaming a couple months ago, and I was on her stream, and I was like, oh, we gotta rate Jason Masoud. He just came on, and remember that day when we rated you with Stitch, and
Oh,
Deathbringer
dude,
was here, and
of
everything
course
was
I do, bro. Yeah, it was
and
lit.
all the pieces like fell together, and it was so funny. I was like in tears sitting here as you were rapping about me being your stepdad and stuff like that. And the whole gang was here, and everybody I feel like remembered that moment and that hour for like so many days. And I feel like I've only had a couple of those moments so far on Twitch. And there's one time we were in the fire pit, Flo Mamba was doing his thing. And I feel like that's the beauty of Twitch. When the chat and the gang and the streamer and all the stuff, when the moment falls in together, it's like it's so good. Crazy.
It's so beautiful. I want to give a little bit of a backstory to the people who don't know the story, but I think everybody in your community pretty much knows the story because a lot of them come into my stream now and they're like, "Yo, you're the stepson, right?" I was like, "Yeah, how do you know?" "Oh, Marvin told the story on the fire pit." I'm like, "Oh shit." So long story short, I got raided by a beautiful person named Stitch. Thank you so much again for that raid. But I believe it is a raid of like 23, 24 people. I don't remember. But I was actually doing a feedback stream. So I was doing a stream where producers send me their songs and I improvise over them. And in the process, once I'm done, I'll also give them feedback afterwards. So I got the raid. Everybody came in. Everybody was like super positive right from the start. And then somebody in the stream redeemed rap freestyle. Now I have a rap freestyle channel point on my page that you can redeem where I do a rap freestyle and I play this game called the Topic Game where the chat gives me random topics and I rap about them and I try to keep the flow going. So when this person redeemed rap freestyle, I forgot how it started, but I think Grandmasterong mentioned that I asked to be his son, his Twitch son, but I wasn't able to be his son because I started streaming before I met him. So
yeah, that's right.
Then the whole stream pretty much turned into me rap freestyling about a bunch of random topics and Grandmasterong being my dad. And
the chat was asking for a petition. They even signed the petition on chat.
it was like, it turned into like this. It was just so much fun and so funny. And then after like maybe 8 or 9 rap freestyles that I did, that was like a total disaster. Master Ong finally said, "You know what? You can't be my son, but you can be my stepson." And it was like, oh! And then people started calling me Jason Snow, the Game of Thrones reference where I'm the stepson. It was just, dude, that stream was just so positive and so beautiful. And I remember when I got off, I was like, dude, I feel all warm and tingly inside. Like that there was just nothing but positive vibes, no negativity, no hate. And it was just beautiful, man. And Marvin, I want to thank you because I know you were the one who co-piloted the raid. But it's honestly,
I do that sometimes. I feel bad sometimes, but I feel like I'm like, we gotta check out this guy. We gotta check. But all the people that like I usually like hang out in the streams they're like so nice to me. They call me like their Twitch dad or whatever, and then so they let me kind of like maneuver the direction sometimes.
Right. And what blew my mind too was, like a lot of these people are jugglers, right? And a lot of the people who are in here right now are part of the juggling community. And I'm a musician, and what I was doing was completely different than like, the normal juggling act or whatever it was. But all of you guys still tuned in, and you guys were all super fun. You guys were all typing, giving me topics. The chat was like very responsive. And, I come from like the music world, and it's almost like I realized, dude, now I want to get into juggling. Like the community was so positive, and that experience was so positive. Like I actually want to learn how to juggle now. And it was just
totally.
Dude,
I
it's
think
beautiful.
The difference is like music is like it's so big, right? Like the people that do music, there's like millions and millions of musicians, and it's kind of like the same as basketball. When there's not really a basketball community because everybody plays basketball,
Right.
so it's kind of like a thing that you do unless you're like top of the line pro, and then you have like your pro community. But I feel like juggling in general is like very small and niche. And so like the people that rotate between like the community is still kind of like it's small. So you still get that kind of like family vibe, I guess, Especially here you see it here so vividly on Twitch because there's not a lot of jugglers that have migrated here on Twitch, like the hoopers and stuff. But now we're starting to see like a small growth. And then you start seeing like the people kind of like this morning, what we were on Jesse Fox stream, and then this guy cost me Vortex. I was talking about something about gang signs, and I was like, you know what? I've never really thought about it this way, but it's kind of like similar. It's like the gang signs are like the emotes, because in order to have the emotes, you have to be on a person's stream. So either you follow them, or you kind of like lurk in there, or you get gifted a sub, or you yourself pay for the sub. And once you do that, you're like in the group. So you have the emotes, right? So you're on other people's stream and you post that emote and people like recognize that emote. It's almost like, yo, what's up, gang sign?
Yeah,
and if you look at it, it's like the movement of the crowd is interesting too. You have like the core people that are kind of like moving in a group together from stream to stream. They add friends and they start moving together, and it's more fun to like kind of like have that experience together. And then there's like the outer layer people that kind of like trickle in and stuff like that. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Jesse Fox said there's niche communities within the music community. Yeah, exactly. And you know what I love, by the way, everybody who is in here, please follow Jesse Fox Official. Please follow Deathbringer. I'm pretty sure all of you guys are already following them, but follow them again, dude. Make a second account and just keep following them nonstop. But what I love, okay, so like the Jesse Fox's stream is now like a part of my morning. Every morning, like when I'm at work, if I find the time or I can like sneak away for a little bit, I'm like, yo, dude, I want to see what Jesse Fox is doing. Who's in Jesse Fox's stream? And then, you know, every time I go in there, I see you in there. Sometimes I'll see Shamanic Trance in there. T to the C is always in there. And
T to the C.
Dude, the funny thing is, like, we all literally just start spamming a bunch of random emotes from people's streams that we follow. It's like, dude, Deathbringer's face always shows up. Always shows up. And dude, like you said, I mean, you're comparing it to kind of like gang signs in a way. Yeah, definitely. It's almost like
it's like the secret handshake.
Yeah, it's like you're showing what community you're a part of and who you're proud of. You know, like I'm proud of Deathbringer. I'm proud of Jesse Fox. I'm proud of Grandmasterong. It's just really beautiful. And when you get people, you know, from Jesse Fox's stream, when I'm in Jesse Fox's stream and I see people that I usually see in Deathbringer's stream too, or in your stream, it just makes me feel good, you know. It's like, yo, what's up? Totally. Everybody starts talking, and dude, it's crazy. I didn't realize how positive and how beautiful the Twitch community could be.
I'm sure all of us are kind of like mind blown too, like how Twitch is able to provide this kind of like sense of like virtual community, because it is live compared to like a Facebook message or like Instagram. You actually get to be like immersed in like the stream with these people, and it is like truly mind-blowing how you can feel like connected like virtually in such a deep way if you just invest a little bit of time to be part of the thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so Jesse said he prefers tribe instead of gang. I kind of like tribe too.
Yeah.
Tribe sounds dope, dude. I'm gonna start using that.
I didn't say gang until that guy Cosmic Vortex was like, hey, it's like kind of like gang signs, and I was like, well, I can see that. Chaotic Cats, do we need like red bandanas now?
All those hours spent on AIM in 1995 have finally paid off for me. Dude, do you remember AIM? The first like instant messaging thing that was like kind of big? Oh, dude, things have changed.
I need to run to the restroom. Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Yo, T to the C, you just redeemed asked my guest a question. Let him, he's taking a quick pee-pee break, so give him a second. We need Twitch VR? Dude, that would be insane, man. Like, imagine putting a VR on and then you can see everybody that's in a person's stream. Dude, that would be crazy. And then every time you put an emote, the emote actually pops up in front of you and you can like manipulate it. So if Deathbringer's face pops up, I could grab it and give it a kiss in VR land. Bro, I'd be so happy. But yo, guys, I want to thank everybody who's in here right now, everybody who's hanging out, everybody who's chilling, and Grandmaster Ong's community, everybody's community. You guys are all just amazing. And I'm honestly so thankful to have met all of you. You are all just beautiful people full of nothing but positive vibes. And honestly, it's incredible. I've really fallen in love with Twitch and the positive community, and you know, all the great friends that I'm making. It feels so good. Twitch VR would be crazy. The fire pit is kind of like that, though. I need to join the fire pit. Okay. Thank you, Shamanic Trance. Shamanic Trance. Woo! Dang! Hey, Marvin, you try it now. You try it. Oh, we gotta do a special dance.
Shamanic Trance. I fell at number 4.
Shamanic Trance. Okay, that's a little too fast. But anyway. Oh, so T to the C redeemed ask my guest a question. So he wants to ask you something. T to the C?
Sure. T to the C.
T to the C. I'm
like curious to like, I feel like I want to like see his face so bad. T to the C, the mystery man.
Dude, I know. Dude, who the hell is T to the C? I want to see the man behind the computer screen. T to the C. Reveal yourself, damn it.
Go in post in my Discord. Go into the selfie section. Post a picture of yourself. How did he get the name Masterong? I may have missed it before. Apologies. Yeah, sure. I can repeat it a little bit, and then might as well show the video too. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah. Yes. Please. Please. Please.
You think we can show the video and speak? Does it go through the thing?
Yeah. It'll go through. Yep.
So
I'll make the video full screen, but you can like narrate and talk about it as we're watching. No problem.
So in 2012 there was like the first fire festival in Los Angeles, and I was kind of like part of the workshop coordinator. And then so like when I told I wanted to make a video just to promote the festival because I was like so amped about it. And my wife had this idea. She was like, hey, why don't you dress up like Fu Manchu and kind of like speak Chinese, and then we'll have subtitles and they'll kind of like be the thing. And then she took her like old like rave boot covers and cut it up and then like tape it on my face. And I'm kind of like a very more reserved kind of like person, so I don't really like do all this crazy stuff. So but once I put on the beard and the outfit, all of a sudden I felt like I was like a different person. I was able to like let go a little bit. And right after the video, I was like, man, we have to like name the character. And I was like, we'll call him Masterong. It was like an inside joke. So all my friends would kind of like see me at the festival. They'd be like, haha, Masterong, Masterong. But then that kind of like transformed into like the business, because later on we started selling equipment, and then we were like, what should we call the business? And we're like, yeah, the Masterong's Prop Shop. And that's why it's known as MOPS, M-O-P-S. But then over the years, it like kind of like you have Masterong's Prop Shop selling the equipment, and then you have like Manipulation, which is the festival. But people will still refer it as MOPS. Like, you know, so have you been to MOPS? Have you been to MOPS 2017, 2016, and stuff like that?
Dude, Masterong's Prop Shop, that sounds like a badass shop in a video game or something, you know? I'm like picturing Legend of Zelda, and it's like Masterong's Prop Shop, and then you can go in there and like buy juggling equipment and stuff. That just sounds so epic, man.
And then there's like the website where like a friend of ours drew like the character with like the really long beard, and then that was like on the website. And then like a couple of years later, we wanted a newer logo, and Hopscotch and my wife Jennifer actually created the Chibi Masterong logo with the Num Nums, the cat. So like it's on our hoodie and stuff like that. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people wear them around the world, because when you come to my festival, you get a T-shirt right away, and then you get the logo on it. And then recently, the last week, I got Stitch to put that face into the emote. So now it becomes like the Darth Sith Masterong emote, which is what you see on chat here.
Love
Super
it.
stoned.
Love it. Wait, are people really saving up for you to do a real Masterong stream, or you dress up and everything? Is that gonna happen?
I've dressed up like 2-3 times total, maybe 4 times in my life, and it's like such a pain in the butt to like. It's like, you know, I don't know, but people definitely
deal with
want me to,
bro.
like,
The people want to see it, man. Deal with it. Who cares? Just deal with it.
Like that and do a full stream just speaking Chinese.
Bro, that would honestly be incredible. Okay, if that happens, you got to let me know. If I have to call off of work, I will call off of work to see that shit, man.
All right, shall we play that first Masterong original video?
Yes,
it's really bad. So let me share my screen.
I doubt that. Let's see it. I was meaning for you to share a lot more videos. We're already an hour and a half in, but this conversation has been so great. We can
cramp in a couple more videos here and there as we. All
right, give me 1 second. I'll let you know when it's ready. All right, we're ready for it.
We'll play it. All right.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I need to size this a little bit better. Give me a second. Hold on. Oh, I don't know why it's kind of cutting off. Uh-oh. Well. Okay, go ahead. Bro, is this real? I can't believe this is so awesome.
Yeah, this staff was made out of a broomstick.
Bro, I already knew you were a badass, but you are like an extreme badass. This is so incredible, man. This is awesome. You went all out. Dang.
Oh man, that video is so bad.
Bro. Bro.
So there was like in 2012 that video, and then started selling the equipment and stuff. And then let me show the you've seen a lot of people have seen this trailer, but this is the festival trailer. Let me show this one.
Okay.
That was like this was in 2017, like about like 500 people, 5 days long. People come from overseas and stuff like that.
Wow.
And we have like Circus Soleil performers and all these different stuff. Yeah. Let me know when to press play.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me get this ready. All right.
This trick doesn't work every time. But this time it worked!
Damn.
You all know how this circle of compliments works, right?
Oh, pause it.
What?
Sorry, give me a second. All right, we're good. Wow, man.
Yeah, that was like the f- the 2017. Um, the last one was 2018. So I did 7 of those from the beginning, and yeah, towards the end there was like 500 people, 5 days long, cabins, 24-hour gyms. In the daytime, there's workshops all over: yoga, aerialist, clowning, poi, juggling, fire safety, magic, like. And the nighttime, there's like the DJs playing, and there's like the fire going, and there's the gym, there's the shows every night, and yeah, it was insane. A big production. I would
Bro.
have to fly like 20 people in from like all different parts of the country, from France, and have to coordinate the logistics of the flights and the show and the tech and like the food and the transportation and the volunteers, the gate, the safety, like the venue. The list goes on.
So you orchestrated that whole event, right? You're the one
Yeah.
who came up with that idea and put it all together, essentially, right?
It
I mean,
was
obviously,
based off it was based off the other ones that I've been to, like in Europe and in the States, and I took notes of like all the stuff that I like, and then I kind of like created my own. But yeah.
wow, man, that is incredible, dude. Because not only are you talented in so many different things, but to be able to put something like that together and bring people together, and dude, that video was honestly inspiring, man. And it looked like so much fun. It looked like everybody there was just there to have a good time and connect with people. They were all skilled.
Yeah. Totally.
Wow, and
It's not just like a party. It's like a very like dense relationship. People are learning stuff. They're progressing. They have like memories for like a lifetime. That song that you heard from that trailer is because that year one of the international artists was from South America, but he trained in Europe, and then he came and he was like part of the show, like the big show, the gala show. And towards the end, he like came out. There was like in the beginning there was like a guitar solo or whatever, and then the second song came on, which was this song, and you could see the whole crowd just like start like just rocking it, right? And that moment, like people remember that, for like everybody remembered. Everybody was in the moment. They were like looking at each other. We were watching the show, and after the show finished, we asked him. I was like, "Do you usually listen to that like style of music?" And he was like, "No, I usually don't listen to that style of music, but because I was going to California, my brother told me to like make a routine with that song, and then he did." So everybody was like,
wow, dude, that's awesome. But I heard you say guitar solo, and I wasn't playing the guitar solo, bro. What the hell's your problem? What's up with that, man? No, I'm just kidding. But dude, yo, I mean, Masterong could not be a more fitting name. I'm just gonna call you Master from now on. I don't even want to be your Twitch stepson. I want to be my master, man. I want to be your sensei. I want to learn everything from you. Teach me how to be as awesome as you, man. Because, dude, for you to be able to put that together, that's honestly just incredible, man. Incredible. And now my next question, man, is, well, while I was watching that video, what blew my mind was a giant crowd of people together, laughing, having a good time, and nobody was wearing a mask. And obviously, COVID has definitely affected an event like this to even take place. Like, how was the whole, COVID pandemic experience been like?
It's
man?
weird. I feel like I don't know. I feel like in 2017 I ran that one, and in 2018 I pushed for another one, and we did another one, which was really amazing. And it's weird because that was kind of like the same time that I was kind of like getting like burnt out from traveling and stuff. And so I was kind of like reducing the events that I was going to, and kind of like directing my energy, like kind of like shifting. And in 2018, after I did that one, I was still planning to do another one in 2019, but somehow it didn't work out. Like we were just like, we're gonna take a break. And once we took a break, I also kind of like took a break from traveling. And then so like I said, I got a regular job literally 2 years ago as we moved here to Arizona to be closer to my mom. And it was kind of like a blessing in disguise. So I was already moving away from all of that, and because if I didn't, and COVID happened, and I didn't get a job in time, I would be really screwed. But I was
Wow.
already transitioning away from that, and then COVID happened. But then there was also the point where during that time when I was like transitioning away from all of this, it was like one of my like darkest like times of my life. I was like completely fallen into this kind of like very deep depression because I felt like my life was a failure because like I'm not like I'm getting older. I'm not making like millions of dollars, and I'm also losing all this community that I've built and connected for all these years, right? As you go to less of these things and you see other people like the same, like getting older too, they're going to less of them and you don't get to see them. And they've
Oh.
been such an integral part of your like life, especially in your 20s as you're developing and you're learning and becoming this like amazing, like a better person, you know? And but with all that, that came to the story where like we're here and Jennifer needed a neck spine surgery, which was last summer, and during all this like depression and very dark state that I was like not going to many things and I was just working a regular job. We did the fundraiser, the GoFundMe, and usually when I do my Marvin thing, I do like the spamming and marketing, pushing out ever. But I felt like it wasn't right, so I didn't do it that way. I just posted on my Facebook wall. That's it. I just posted GoFundMe, next spine surgery. This is how much money we needed, and most people, including my like our friends, close friends, and like thought maybe you can raise like $1,000 or so, maybe. And we asked for, and then the next morning, 24 hours later, when we woke up, there was $12,000 in the bank for the down payment of the surgery. Uh,
Wow.
Me and Jennifer were completely in tears. I couldn't believe it, and all it washed away all the perception of like what I thought I was like disconnected from the community and like the depression and all those things, all the burnout, everything. It just completely washed it away and completely put my perception in a different angle. How like even though I didn't see all my community and I was like going to like less of these things, I was still super connected despite the COVID and unemployment. And this community is not that like high on the financial bracket, like not everybody makes six figures. Like people are pretty poor, but somehow they went above and beyond, stepped up, and it's like you need the money for the surgery. Here you go, boom. People just like dropped that coin, and it was incredible. And that was kind of like the initial push for me to like, all right, I'm gonna start the Discord. And then right after I started the Discord, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start streaming. I'm gonna like talk about this particular story and this message and share it outwards to the world, to the outreach, to let them know, despite of all the crazy that is going on in the world right now, like we still have this thing called community. And that was like why I started streaming.
Wow. I am just mind blown, man. But wow, it really, really shows how much people just really, really love you, man. Honestly. You spent all that time, in the community and just being positive, I'm sure, and putting an amazing event together full of nothing but positivity and skill. And it just really shows that, yeah, man, like you're an incredible human being, man. And I haven't known you for very long, but like hearing everything that you've talked about today, it makes me even more curious. And like, I want to hear more about your story. And the fact that you came on stream with the intentions of sharing that story and once again building a positive community, it's beautiful. Tell me a little bit about your experience streaming. I mean, I know you've only been doing it for what, 6-7 months. What was like the first maybe week like? How was your setup? Was your setup this fancy? Because bro, your stream and your overlays are incredible. I remember when I first went into your stream. Guys, funny story. I've seen Grandmasterong a few times in my stream and a few other people's streams, but I had no idea he was a streamer. And then when I finally found out, I followed him, went to my first stream that Grandmasterong had, and I was just like, bro, this guy is a total badass. How did I not know he was doing this? And then on that particular stream, you were showing all your overlays. And I was watching and I was like, all right, Grandmasterong, we get it, bro. All right, you don't gotta show off. But what was like the first week or two like streaming?
I have the first stream saved. I only like saved the first stream and my birthday stream. And there's another stream that I did last week, which was one of my biggest streams, like the Club Congress kind of like interview. I've saved 3 of those streams. I've uploaded one of them on YouTube. And only a few days ago, I was talking to Hopscotch and I took a look at it and I was like, wow, I've come kind of far from like the first stream, because even though it's like the same house, I was more on the other room, and I had like a C922 that I just bought, and there was like not really a lot of lights, and there was just kind of like just going at it.
Right.
And over the months, I've able to like stack it up. I after like 2 months or so, like I was like, you know what, I'm deep in this. I'm like all in. I'm gonna get this like really super nice camera. I'm gonna invest some money with the lights and stuff. And because it was showing momentum right when I started, I was able to bring in like 20 something people on my stream right off the
Wow.
bat, and it like slowly grew. I'm like around like 30 something right now. It's still kind of like slowly creeping, but more and more people are adapting to the platform, our community, and more people are setting up streams. We got the latest juggler on the street, Spencer Sprocket, and
Shout out to Spencer. Everybody go follow him, please.
and Senyo is about to set up her stream. She ordered her
Hey.
camera. Shamani was thinking about it, and like there's more people setting up streams, and they're gonna be more of an expansion of like kind of like our family, which is kind of like exciting. And I think the more important thing is during COVID and the lockdown, it has been my saving grace in the last year, and it has been kind of like a revolutionary push. So now I don't train as much like juggling or performing and stuff like that. Now I become like some kind of like juggling radio broadcaster, as I kind of like do somewhat of a education style stream of what the culture and the history is, but also like tying and bringing in people together. And so that's kind of like what my stream is all about. Kind of in the last 6 months, I stream 3 times a week: Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. I've only been late 2 times, and I've been I think I took 1 day off, and I took the 2 weeks off before Christmas. I've never been late. Like I'm on the clock all the time. I was like, it's crazy. Like, and yeah, I've streamed over like 200 something hours, and it's growing. It's growing.
Wow. Yeah. One thing that I noticed about you too is, dude, you're getting a lot of people into streaming. I mean, you are literally bringing a lot of people into streaming, and it's incredible because I'm guessing some of these people didn't even have the idea of streaming, but
Totally.
maybe after
Me
a good
too.
conversation, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I remember
same
like
with
literally
Ryan.
6 months ago, I asked one of my coworkers, "Hey, I was like, do you know what is streaming, and do you know why people watch other people play video games?"
The funny thing about that is my brother, I think this was like maybe, I've been streaming about the same time as you, about 6-7 months.
Okay.
I remember before that, maybe like 10 months ago, maybe a year ago, my brother was always telling me, dude, why don't you get on Twitch? Dude, why don't you start streaming? And in my head, when somebody said Twitch TV, I was like, bro, that's like people playing video games, And there's nothing wrong
Totally.
with that, but I was just like, I mean, what am I going to do? Nobody wants to see me play guitar on there. And then I
And I think-
realized, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think what you're talking about is pre-COVID. There was only, according to the stats, there was only 3 million people on Twitch, and then after COVID started happening, it went up to like 7 million. And in the
Wow.
beginning, yes, I agree. There's like predominantly just video games, but because of COVID, people are looking at ways on how to like adapt and kind of like connect. And primarily, people have been on Zoom, and I've done 3 Zoom events before Twitch. By the third one, I was able to bring in 250 people on Zoom from 50 countries. But the event was like 10
Whoa.
hours long, and it was like crazy. It took me like a week or two to build that up. There were workshops, there were shows, and all this stuff, live streaming. And by the time it was done, I was like so burnt out from just organizing it and sitting in front of the screen for like 10 hours. And then it moved into Twitch. So like I did 3 Zoom events, and I feel like people are still looking at ways on how to like adapt during COVID. And I think this is like a very big potential platform for people once they kind of like find it out and knowing why. I even have like I think like let me see here. In like 3 weeks, I'm gonna do a workshop on a Tuesday afternoon. Somebody just reached out to me just to paid me to do a small workshop on like how to stream on Twitch. Super meta.
Wow, man. That's incredible. Yeah, T to the C was like, he just casually mentions, you're like, yeah, I put together a Zoom event, 10 hours long, 200 people. Dude, that's honestly like, that's just amazing, man. That is so incredible. And I mean, I'm just so glad. I'm so glad that I met you, and because you're honestly such a positive person, and I love meeting people like you who have this crazy story about different things they did in their lives, and now you're on Twitch, and now you're building this beautiful community. You're gonna do a workshop, dude. Honestly, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. What you're doing is great. I was going to ask you a question, but I forgot what the question was. What was it? I completely forgot. But one thing I want to ask you about is the fire pit. So I've never actually been to the fire pit on Discord.
Oh, yeah.
So is
The
that
fire
just a
pit.
place where you guys hang out?
So in the beginning, when I first got on Discord, was the French juggling people, like the French people, had their own Discord. It was like kind of like, it looks like kind of like mine, but a little bit better because they were kind of like adapting to Discord too, and they were not doing the Zoom, they were doing Discord events. So I went on their Discord. It was all in French, and it was like super cool. They have like the camping area and all that stuff, and they had like a fire pit, and there was a fire bot in there. And when you go into the fire pit, there's a fire bot that you can kind of like command, and it's like a bot that kind of like emulates like a fire sound, like kind of like you're standing by the fire pit. And a lot of these like kind of like fire festivals, they have the fire spinning area, and then they have a DJ, and usually there's like multiple fire pits, and usually you're standing there, you're watching your friend spin fire, but you're kind of like hanging out, chilling, drinking some beer by the fire pit. So it's very kind of like a social, kind of like the dynamic. And when you think about a fire pit with a fire, it's usually a good time. Usually you're sitting there with your family and friends, and you're just, you're never like really having a bad time at the fire pit. So at the French Discord, when I started my Discord before I started streaming on early July, I told one of the guy that kind of like ran the Discord, I was like, can you bring the Firebot from the French Discord over to mine? And they brought it. So they brought it over there, but somehow it died because the server was like not maintained or whatever. And then we had a Jacob, one of our United States like Flow community person. There was like a coder. I had him make me one, and we named it Sacred Firebot. And then that one was running for a little bit, and then somehow it died. And then I got Matan to stream. So for those that don't know Matan juggles, which is like the strongest juggler on stream. I mean, he has like on Twitch, he has like multiple records and stuff like that. Guy is like crazy, but he's also a software engineer. And I was like, hey, can you make me this bot? And then so he made me the third one, and then so we named it the third Firebot. But the thing about Matan is that he didn't know. He just like ripped off like an audio off like YouTube randomly. And so when you summon the third Firebot in my Discord, it sounds like you're in Florida. It sounds like there's a storm. It sounds like there's somebody like scribbling, writing a memoir. And Hopscotch does it super well. So sometimes if you get to catch Hopscotch, he'll go in there and he'll like emulate the Firebot as it's kind of like playing, and tell the story of how the third Firebot yearns for the sacred Firebot to be back, but it never comes back. And so the fire pit is basically the voice channel on Discord, where I kind of like promote as like the virtual couch. Like, so like a lot of our friends would sometimes, I'm in there all the time. Like I'm there just holding space, but sometimes people would jump in and out. So people would jump in, and sometimes there'll be 2 people, sometimes there'll be 10 people, depending on the day. And then we'll watch like one stream together. So let's say we're watching this stream right now, and there's 10 of us in the fire pit, literally just chatting like voice as we watching the stream. And so when we see something funny, we get to like share that moment as well. But the thing about the Discord fire pit, it is a very non-traditional phone call, because like a stream is the same. A stream is like it's ongoing for a couple hours. People come in and out. There's no front or end. There's like kind of like just a non-linear kind of like broadcast. While the fire pit Discord is the same, because like typically a traditional phone call, you call somebody, you say hello, you get the stuff to say, and then you say goodbye. It's like point A to point B, and you hang up.
Right.
The fire pit, it's a non-traditional phone call because you can jump in and out, and you don't really have to say much. So me and Hopscotch, we typically hold down the spot, like because I'm working and I'm in there, and then he'll jump in. And we'll say, hey, what's up? How's your day? Or we'll talk about something about Twitch, and then there'll be like silence. And in the beginning, you might not be accustomed to it.
It might feel a little awkward, right?
Yes, exactly. In the beginning, you'll feel like really awkward because of the silence. But that's why we have the third Firebot to emulate the fire sound. But after you're in there a couple times, you realize that the other person's doing something else. You might be working, listening to music, watching Twitch, playing chess, doing all kinds of stuff. And then once you realize that other person is doing something else and being occupied, that awkwardness goes away. But it takes time to accustom yourself to that new kind of like way of communicating. And so that's why I pride myself in the fire pit. But it needs people to come in. Yeah, it's like kind of like dead air in chat. But then if you think about it, it's meant to be that way. It's not meant to be talking like 24 hours nonstop. It's supposed to be have breaks in between because you want to do other stuff. And so you come in and out or you chat. And then once in a while we did a couple of events. We did like a movie night where we had like 20 people and stuff like that. But I think I don't really like the movie night because it's cool that you can watch it together, but there's no interaction. And by the time the movie's over, people are tired, so they leave. And I think it's mostly built for me intentionally. It's for communicating and a place for community to get together. The last couple of nights has been really good. It has picked up traction because we had the event going on last weekend, Club Congress. So people have been coming in. So we've been kind of like turning on our camera, turning off, and Hopscotch has been dedicating himself to fire spin in the Discord for 30 days straight at 6 o'clock Pacific time. And so some of us would jump in, watch him spin fire, play some chess, and people come in and go. But basically, that's the fire pit.
Wow. Okay. So it'd be a good place for me to go in if I'm doing like video editing and I just kind of want to hang out, but I don't really want to talk too much or hear anybody talk to you. It's more like, have like a quick conversation and then on the grind, video edit, practice guitar, mute my mic. So it's
it's less about it's kind of like less on the spot like streaming, but it's kind of like supposed to be more casual where you kind of come in and out. My vision originally was like, if I can get enough traction in the Discord, it'll be so cool that there's people in the fire pit 24 hours from different time zones. You just come in and out and there's people in there just hanging out and you can kind of like want to talk to people, meet some people. It's kind of like the virtual kind of like coffee shop. That's kind of like my goal. So if you guys are in the Discord, please come by, say hi a couple minutes, whatever. Just spend some time in there and hold space. And that's basically what you're kind of like supporting.
Wow, man. Hey, that's cool, dude. I'm definitely going to be in there. So, I heard that you have a stream right after this, right? Can you tell us a little bit about the stream?
I do have a stream.
Bro, you're on the grind, man. Tell us, what kind of stream is it going to be?
So on my streams, I stream 3 times a week. Tuesday mornings, I do a little bit of juggling. I was streaming early in the morning. I was waking up at 6 my time and kind of like do a little bit of streaming. But then realized a lot of my crowd are from the West Coast, United States. So then I push it a little bit later. I was trying to hit the Asian region. There was like some people, friends from Asia tuning in, but still a very small percentage. But now I'm pushing my stream back to even later, to like 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, basically, we drink some tea, I juggle, talk about things. And on Thursday nights, which is tonight, every week I bring on a different guest. Tonight we have this lady, her name's Michelle C. Smith. She's like 350,000 followers on Instagram. Pretty huge.
Wow.
I met her back in Vancouver like 5-6 years ago. She's a professional like stunt artist, stunt actor, but she's also like a professional martial artist and also like a professional bow spinner and stuff like that. And Side Flip was the one that was like, hey, you should interview her. And I was like, yeah, I met her a couple years ago. Let's connect. And so we're bringing her in tonight. And on Thursday nights, it's just like this. I have like a interview with a guest and we talk about their journey on the people I bring in.
Right.
And on Sundays, we do like kind of like more on the video review side. We watch new and old videos and I typically have a raffle. So Sunday will be stream number 24 or something on Sundays. And I've had a raffle every week since I started, from prizes from $50 to $100. Like the companies and from the community has been kind of like just donating. So on Sundays, I typically run a raffle for 24 weeks straight. It's pretty crazy.
Dude, what the hell? That is so crazy. And by the way, the guest that you were talking about, I was actually helping her yesterday on Discord, getting her stream set up. So she should be good to go. I'm really excited. I'm going to be tuning in for it.
Totally. So the Side Flip has kind of like encouraged her to like move to Twitch, and she's kind of like been interested in setting up.
Oh wow!
Yeah, dude, she's a big following. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yo, by the way, what's up, the Side Flip? So let me ask you something. What do you have an end goal with Twitch, or do you have like a main goal, or maybe like a milestone you really want to hit?
So initially I didn't really have any like main goal. I just enjoy streaming and I enjoy bringing people together. That was kind of like the initial goal. But then like, you know, like I sometimes have this kind of like fish emote. I'm known for the fish emote.
Oh
like,
yeah, you spam it all the time.
The fishtail emote, because this is a club fishtail. This is a trick. This is a club fishtail. That's how it looks. And partially it represents a juggling trick, which is a kind of like intermediate juggling trick. The second thing is that it's a combo emote, right? You have to kind of like put it in 2 or 3 times to like combine it.
Yeah.
So for me, it feels like juggling in the chat. You're kind of like putting it in between so that you can kind of like squeeze it in, if you know what I mean. Like juggling and music, I think, in between the beats to like make it match. So when I'm
Right.
in the chat, I feel like I'm juggling with the on chat. So that's one. And then so I've been around the Twitch land, and people would either call me Grandma or call me the Fish Man because I'm
Oh,
known for
yeah.
this fish emote. And then I'm on this like big streamer, right? He has like 400 or 500 people. And I'm on his stream, and the chat is just going nuts. Just like he's amazing. He's like super talented. And then I post a fish emote, and then the mod was like, "Hey, no fish emote." I was like, "Really? Okay." I was like, "Okay." Then I posted a shrimp emote, like a shrimp. I was just like, I was poking. I was like, going for it. I was like,
Yeah.
"How about shrimp?" And he was like, "Nope." He like timed me out, and then perma banned me. And then
Why? Wait, why?
exactly. And I think the mod was just like on a power trip, most probably because the streamer didn't even notice, and
The chat's going so fast.
This is going off. Yeah, just
Yeah.
emotes. And then he just picked my emote out, and he was like, "Nah, this guy, get him." And then a couple weeks later, that was before I was like perma-banned. I was just kind of like just timed out. And then a couple weeks later, somebody was like, "Hey, check out this streamer, man. He's an epic." I was like, "Oh yeah, that guy." He like kind of like banned me from the fish thing. And then like a bunch of us went in, and we all posted the fish emotes. And then all of us got perma-banned.
Hell yeah. Hey, that sounds like a gang right there, dude. You just went in there and you're like, yo, spam the fish, man. Fuck it. We're going to get banned. Dude, that's so awesome. But I just don't understand why the hell you would get banned for putting a fish and a shrimp. I mean, what?
Exactly.
Is the person against seafood? Like, dude, chill
Totally,
out, bro.
exactly.
You
And
might
it's
be
like
a mod,
global
but you're
emote,
not a
the Saba
superhero.
ping.
Yeah.
And then so one of my goals is to become partner, and then hopefully get about like 300-400 people, and then raid him, and then just like drop the fish. Then it's like,
Hey, I will be there, and I am going to be ready. I'm even going to dress up like a fish while I'm doing it, bro. When that happens, I'll dress up like a fucking fish.
so
Oh,
those
man.
are kind of like one of my goals. And then the other part, my vision was like the fire pit, right? 24 hours. And then the side flip here, who is like a juggler from Twitch that we've never met in real life. He's never been into a convention, but he's all about the juggling. And his vision was to have enough jugglers on Twitch. About when you tune on to Twitch 24 hours, there's like somebody doing a juggling stream. They're either talking about juggling, talking about like or whatever, and that would be really cool. And I think that's one of the goal too, to be able to bring enough of our community onto Twitch to let it kind of like prosper and grow and kind of like support each other. I think that's kind of like one of the big milestones as well.
Oh, wow.
But
okay.
road to partner, we'll see. I'm like still far away. I'm like halfway, barely halfway. It would be
Yeah.
nice to like climb that a little bit.
Bro, all right. I'm going to call it. I think by the 1 year mark, I think you're going to either be there or be pretty damn close, man, because you're not only great, you not only have great stories, you're well spoken, you know how to put words together and tell stories in an entertaining way, but you're also extremely positive, and your main goal, dude, like talking to you, I feel no sense of ego. And it's funny because you're a competitive person and you got that drive in you and that passion where you want to go full force and you want to go all out. And usually,
Go full power.
yeah, exactly. Your emote. If you want to go, spam that emote, everybody. Full power in the chat right now. Everybody spam it.
That is like, it was asked by Chabuku. Chabuku asked it to make that emote. So I asked Stitch to make it, and Stitch made it. And it's like one of the most popular emotes from like my stream. Like people just like, and it's a bowl of rice, actually, if you don't know.
It kind of looked like a Pokeball to me, bro. I thought it was a Pokeball. Now I can see that it's a bowl of rice. But what I was saying was, usually people, well, not usually, but I've met a lot of people with like similar characteristics where, they're very full force. They're very, they want to get good at things. They really hone in. And sometimes these people have a very big ego where it's all about me. It's me. It's all about the ego.
I think that is like I give a lot back to the flow and circus community. I mean, my wife would attribute the same because we both entered the community at the same time. And a lot of people from this community is very like, it's that kind of like approach. It's a lot of like kind of like, it's hard to like kind of even like put it into words, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like the community is like in general very wholesome and very like supportive, and they're about like kind of like self growth and stretching and just like learning, reading books, progressing your mind and stuff like that. So this all this I learned from the community. I was like completely basic. I like smoked cigarettes, didn't care. Like I mean, I came from Malaysia, threw trash out the window.
What are you trying to say about cigarette smokers, bro? Huh? They're not real humans? Huh? No, I'm just kidding.
So I smoked cigarettes from age 16 to like 27. In Malaysia,
wow.
I smoked like a pack a day because you can smoke anywhere in Malaysia. You can smoke in the bathroom, in the mall, everywhere.
That's how it was in Jordan, bro. Even at the DMV and like government buildings, the workers would be smoking while they're on their fucking computer, bro. It blew my mind. It blew my mind.
And I was teaching workshops all over. People were like flying me out, and I was doing workshops. And Jennifer was saying like, yeah, if we were actually with Flo Mamba. Flo Mamba is one of my flow child here. And then they were saying, oh yeah, if Marvin can smoke, we can smoke too. And then all of a sudden it like struck me because like I was in the position of like like a teacher. Like if I would like teach practice and teach discipline, smoking is contradicting to what I'm trying to share. And just like that, boom, we stopped. We stopped smoking.
Wow, that's
we
great.
Took it. We took 3 times to do it, but yeah, I've not smoked the same time as I started to juggle. Like, and it's just like, yeah, it's taught me like the community, the art form, like all this stuff has taught me like, yeah, why Flow Mamba?
Dang. A Chaotic Cat said, how's your lungs now? My question is, are your lungs now as big as your balls? Your poi balls. Your poi balls. Wait, not that. What did you think I was talking about?
Pretty big.
I'd say they're about average. I'm just kidding. But dude, like honestly, I definitely feel like you're gonna be partnered, hands down, for sure, man. You got nothing but positive vibes. You're so good at bringing people together, man, and it's beautiful. So I know you have it stream later, so I want to wrap this up. But before we do, I want to play a little game that I like to call I Must Ask You a Question. See what I did there? Okay. I got a mustache. All right, so let me ask you these questions, and then we'll wrap up, man. All right, let's see. Question number 1. What's your favorite band or favorite artist, favorite group?
My favorite artist in the last 5 years or so, I used to listen to trance when I was like glow sticking a lot. And then when I came into the community, I started listening to more like down tempo stuff. And in the last 5 years, my top number 1 artist, he goes by San Holo. Do you know him?
No.
Sanholo. He's like a very talented musician. He plays the guitar and all that stuff, but he's also a very talented producer. He also has a label called Bitbird, B-I-T like Tom, B-I-R-D, Bitbird label. And yeah, San Holo is like my number 1 go-to. Like yeah.
Oh, I definitely got to check out this person, man. If you can maybe link me when you get a chance on Discord to some music, I would totally love to check it out.
Future bass. Like his last video called Honest was like such a beautiful video. If you watch the video, the song is called Honest, but in the video you have to look at their face expression in between like the Hollywood scenes and stuff. Yeah, it's super cool. San Holo.
Oh wow. Okay. What's your favorite place to eat? Do you have one? I know this question's tough.
My favorite place to eat, like so Malaysian food is really good, but it's really hard to find in the United States. And then so like I remember growing up in Malaysia, so we eat fish and rice every day and veggies. I asked my grandma, I was like, why do we have to eat rice every day? Can we eat like something else? And then when I came to the States, then I realized that I don't eat rice every day, and now it's become like kind of like part of my thing. So like Asian food is still number 1. So if I have to pick, if all the population, the whole world would die, and there would only be one population left, it would have to be Japanese, like Japanese food all the way.
Oh, and wow.
I think like I can eat sushi till I die, shabu shabu, ramen, poke. Like poke is Hawaiian, but it's kind of close. But yeah, anything Japanese, I can like live on for like a really long time. Very sad that Arizona, that where I'm in right now, doesn't have good ramen, because LA ramen is like, it's like top of the line. You know what I mean?
Really,
like,
dude? Okay,
sushi.
Can you give me some like your top LA spots to
totally.
to try these foods? Because I love trying new things. Go ahead.
The number 1 spot that I've ate like my 15 years in LA is called Shinsen Gumi. They're like a kind of like a franchise, SHIN, like Shinsen Gumi. But recently in the last couple of years, we found this one place in Sawtell called Sujita, like Tom Sujita, and usually it's like an hour wait, but that place is like life changing. I mean, the level of like food in LA. I mean, you're in LA, when you have like the options, it's like world class, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
the ramen places in LA like are on par with like Japan. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
the real deal. But yeah,
Wow.
Sujita,
All right. Yeah, dude, I definitely want
Shinsengumi.
to try it. My girlfriend, she loves poke. She loves sushi. I'm barely getting into sushi. Sushi, it's more of a mind thing for me. It still kind of scares me because I feel like, oh, it's raw food, so I might get sick.
Totally.
I'm starting to kind of let go of that thought. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of stick to like, the cooked sushi, which is
Right.
delicious. But I think after a while, I'm definitely going to start really like dabbling in and experimenting. But I'd love to check out those places you mentioned. What's your favorite color?
That's tough because I feel like when I was young, when I was a kid, I liked blue, and then as I got into like snowboarding, I really like the super bright colors with like crazy pink and yellow. And then recently, like if you have heard me talk about, it's called Marvin's Mode, which is on the club, on the juggling club. Let me grab it real quick here. Let me show you.
Yeah, sure. By the way, where was it? T to the C. You said you want a part two of this interview. Bro, I think we have to have a part two. This is amazing. I'm honestly having a great, great time.
I wouldn't say it's like my favorite color, but it is named after me officially on the Flow Toys website. This camera is pretty good. It's kind of like white right now, but then
Right.
when you spin it, it becomes rainbow.
Dang, dude,
And
that
then when
is
you stop,
dope.
and then when you throw it, when it's like half rotating, it's kind of like fluctuating between pastel and white. So that is like the official like Marvin's mode, and it's like one of my like biggest achievement in like the in my journey, because sometimes like people like name tricks after you, and then it's like, oh, Mills Mass or whatever, and that name carries on for years and years and generations.
If there was a
But
trick, called Jason Snow, what would it look like?
I would have to think about that one.
How much do those clubs go for usually?
So the one that I use, this one, there's like practice one, and then there's like the glow one. The practice one is my favorite. It's like inside the core is wood. So like when I catch it, it almost feels like, when Bruce Lee trains with that like wooden doll.
Oh yeah.
It feels, yeah, when I juggle clubs, it feels like I'm training with that wooden doll, because it's partially a little bit martial arts, partially sports, partially dance, all combined together.
Right.
Because there's like movement, physics, timing, visual, like all of that, and then combined with like meditation. You're kind of like all doing all that in kind of like one place. And this one is the club that I found most popular, because the style that I like is the French style, and the French people, a lot of them use these clubs. They're made from Germany. They're called Henrys. They're kind of like the Nike of clubs,
Okay.
and they're called the Henry Pirouettes. And now I think they go for. I was selling them before. I think they go for like $35 a piece, I think. And those are the regular clubs. And these are the ones from Flow Toys. These ones, the electric one, it's crazy. They're all controlled with one button, and there's like 50 pages of like different modes. And each mode, let's say you find like a blue mode, right? And then from blue mode, you can change it all the way down to a spectrum. Like from blue, it starts fading to a different mode, a different color. So within the 50
Dang.
modes, all of them has a spectrum that you can stop and save. And then they're controlled by radio, so you can pair up like 1,000 of them. So one of them will control all of them. Their poi, is super like they took them like a long time to come up with the perfect balance and technology that is built into them.
Yeah.
They're $150 a pop. Your flowtoys.com. If you do want to buy them, I do have this is the discount code. But yeah,
I mean, it
they're
just
called
sounds
Vision
so.
Clubs.
You said meditation earlier. Like it literally, like I'm picturing myself like if I learned how to juggle, buying one of those or buying 3 of those, turning all the lights off, and just literally juggling for an hour. Like, dude, that literally sounds incredible and like such a good
It's fun.
stress reliever too, right?
Yeah, with the music and stuff, it's like
Yeah.
you're kind of like just moving, and you get to like kind of like explore creativity, and you push your limits a little bit if you want.
Bro, I never
Yeah,
thought
it's
I would
crazy.
ever want to get into juggling, but bro, damn, man. Then
That's
I
the
met
thing.
you, and I fell in
I
love.
feel like there's so many different kinds of juggling, right? The other day I showed you like the combat juggling, the volley club. Some people like run numbers, just like 5, 7 clubs, and then
Yeah,
there's like this kind. And I think you have the flow arts community that was born from like the rave and burner culture that kind of like derives from fire spinning, and then you have like the French juggling, and then with that happening together, it kind of like coincide, and I'm kind of like the in between, right? Kind of like you have the flow culture. So a lot of people call flow artists flow culture. The thing about the flow arts is typically it's about more of the dance, and it's a little bit easier and less technical. It's about moving your body, which is completely important and amazing. But then you have like juggling that goes into like a very technical and takes time to like train, because there's
right.
training and then there's playing. There's like different things. And I feel like the vision clubs. The other night I was telling a side flip. I had a dream, I had a dream that I was at this massive rave, and I found these clubs in my hand, and I turned them on, and when I turned them turn turned them on,
Uh
like I started seeing familiar faces approaching in my dream, and I woke up, and then they were like, "Dude, it wasn't a massive. That was Twitch." It's
huh.
like I was the first one that like
Whoa,
lit up
what?
vision clubs on Twitch, and people are starting like up like coming to Twitch, and you can. And then the thing about these vision clubs, like I was saying, is juggling definitely takes a little bit of time to train. For me to like be able to juggle like 3 clubs, like just like basically, took about I took 7 days of practicing 3 balls, maybe 30 minutes an hour a day, until the 7th day, and then my 3 clubs came, and it took me like 5, 6 hours to even get a couple catches. It was so difficult that I even Googled it up. I was like, "Am I doing it wrong? Is there a button to like turn this thing on?"
Yeah.
But there's the beauty about it, because the difficulty of it increases the result. So when you get the result after the difficult climb, it feels so much
Oh,
better. It tastes so much sweeter. And so like with these clubs, what's interesting is like in order to like juggle a set of vision clubs, you have to be semi invested in juggling to practice, and then also to buy these clubs. And so
right.
like when I see vision clubs, it's like you're like in the in.
Wow, man. That yeah, I think so. Do you think for me, since I have no experience in juggling, do you think maybe juggling like 3 oranges or like something ball shaped would be good? Would that be good
Just
practice?
don't use tennis balls. You can
Don't
do
use tennis
orange,
balls.
just because
Okay.
tennis balls they're kind of like bounce. You have to like chase them, and you spend more time chasing them than actually
Oh
doing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay,
But you
okay.
can also practice standing in front of your bed. So like when they drop, you don't have to like bend down and get them.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, next question. Me versus you. Who would win in combat juggling? Who
Definitely
who would win?
me.
Whoa,
Definitely
you
me.
sound a little confident over there, bro. I'm just kidding. All right. If you were a Pokemon, which Pokemon would you be?
I don't really watch Pokemon, so I can't tell you.
Okay. That fair answer. Let me see. Do you have a favorite TV show?
Right now, it's the last couple years. Euphoria. I don't know if you've seen that show.
Oh no, I haven't.
Euphoria is like up there with me with Black Mirror. Like Black Mirror when it came out was like one of my favorite, and then Euphoria that just came out a year or two ago. It's like so beautifully filmed and like so dark and so
Ah,
relevant.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, my girlfriend loves Black Mirror, but I might check out that show. Shamanic Trance said you would be a Mewtwo. I totally agree. You would either be
Mewtwo.
Mew or Mewtwo. Yeah, the Pokemon.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
Mewtwo.
you got to check it out, bro. That's totally you right there.
Yeah, put it in Discord. Shamanic. Check it
Yeah. Do you have a favorite movie?
out. Favorite movie. That's a hard one. I feel like I haven't really seen like any like good movies lately. I like a lot of like the Leonardo DiCaprio stuff for sure. Memento was pretty good too. Like, yeah,
Okay,
good
okay.
movies.
What do you prefer, summer or winter?
Winter just to snowboard, but then
Yeah.
definitely more summer. Yeah, for sure. But if I don't snowboard, the snow just kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I like this question. What advice do you have for new up and coming streamers?
I think if you're starting new and you don't really have a big following or viewers, I think ask yourself what value you can give to others and try to be a part of a community will be like a shortcut. I think tag along with other people, check out other people's stream, provide them value, and from there I think it will be easier to like grow than rather just by yourself. I think that'll be like the main thing.
Yeah, that's something that I've learned as I progressed in streaming. Because in the beginning, it was just kind of like streaming to me was me coming on here. And after my stream, that's it. I'm just going to work on something else. But I realized that it's really important to build relationships with other streamers and their communities. You know, be genuine. And like you said, join other communities and get to know people. Because it's not all about you. It should be about the community and everybody else who kind of has similar goals, you know?
Totally. A complex ecosystem, I call it.
Exactly.
Like behind the streamer, yeah.
All right. If you were a rapper, what would your rap name be? Would it just be Grandmasterong? I mean, that's pretty dope.
I guess so. GMO,
Oh yeah.
Grandmasterong.
Or Mops, DJ Mops.
DJ Mops.
That'd be dope. Do you have a favorite video game? I'm not sure if you're a gamer.
I think Chrono Trigger is my all-time favorite. Up there with Final Fantasy VI. I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike, and then I'm not really a gamer, but I've been playing Fortnite. Maybe spend like 1,000 hours on it or something.
Dang! I don't know you played Fortnite. That's cool though. That's sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any?
But recently, I've been into like chess, actually.
Oh yeah, you asked me if I played chess the other day, but
Yeah.
bro, I it'd be an embarrassment. I would embarrass myself, and I don't like losing. I'm very competitive. And I don't want to spend 12 hours practicing chess, so I will never play you chess, Marvin, because I know you'll whoop my ass, all right? Do you have any embarrassing moments you had as a performer that you'd like to share? Maybe a quick story?
My first performance, I guess, without fire. It was like a kind of like a juggling thing. The music kind of like fucked up. I was like new with juggling. I performed for like 5 minutes. I don't know. It was like so horrible. Like it was like it was the worst. But that moment kind of like put me into a place where like, you know what, I'm gonna like train really really hard and put on like a really really beautiful routine, and I did after that.
Oh wow. Sometimes it takes those experiences to, you know, to teach you a lot about yourself and what you can do better.
For sure.
Do you have a milestone you always look back at in your career? Could be anything, like a moment where things started to change for the better, or like an experience, whether positive or negative, that really impacted you in a way that that you always kind of look back at and say, wow, when this happened, and then it led to this happening.
Totally. I think like meeting Dan and John here in this like in the stream totally changed like the shift of like the path of my life for sure. And then meeting all the thousands of people after.
Wow. Do you have any pet peeves when it comes to working with other people?
Not particularly. I guess like if people are kind of like flaky, that's kind of like tough. Or like they say something and then they don't show up. That one's kind of rough.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, last question here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how dope is my mustache?
Pretty dope. I think I give it like a 9. Pretty dope.
A 9? Whoa, nobody. Okay, every single guest that I've had on, they usually give me like above a 10. But of course, Marvin has to give me a 9. What a freaking douchebag, bro. I should have never asked you to come here.
Uncle Roger and me came out.
No, I'm just kidding. But yo, dude, honestly, it's been a pleasure. This has been a great show. I'd love to have you on again sometime in the future, man.
For sure. We'll do the part 2 down the line or something, like T to the C said. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But dude, thank you so much. And if you're watching from YouTube, I'm going to have all of Marvin's links down in the description box along with mine. Everybody who's here watching, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Marvin, you've been an incredible guest. Do you have anything you'd like to share? Any last words?
Nah, fuck, I'm gonna go full hardcore. I'm gonna go live here like in an hour, so come by if you guys are around.
Can I ask you one last thing?
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how dope is my mustache? Say a 10, damn it.
9.5.
Okay, that's better. Yo, thank you so much, man. Hey, Jason. On a scale of 1 to 10, how dope is your mustache? I'd give it a 10.5.